Okay.
I,
Hello everyone. I'm Mirela Gavra, publisher Automotive Today and the Diplomat Bucharest, and thank you all for being here at the third edition of Automotive Forum and Awards for Excellence Gala, dedicated to the professionals in the automotive industry in Romania, organized by the Diplomat Bucharest and, of course, Automotive Today. Events partners, Diamond partner Wipro, Platinum partners Deloitte, Bosch Romania, EY, NXP Semiconductors Romania, BASF Romania, Clarwin, strategic partner Acarom, partners Group Renault, Continental, Ford, Met, Entity Data, C1, Wave, learning partner Bookster, supporting institution AHK, CCIF, Romanian Business Chamber, ANIS, Cluj IT, and media partners, Outsourcing Today, Financial Intelligence, Economistul, România Durabilă, Club Economic. We'll spend this afternoon together in a hopefully full pleasant event, in an open dialogue during the CEO debate session, several presentations offered by the panelists, and we'll start at 6 p.m. awards Gala ceremony. The event now is live on the Diplomat Bucharest and Automotive Today websites, YouTube, and social media, as well as on pages of our partners today. We thank all our speakers for being here in the high-level panel, and of course, the jury members who offer us their support in concluding a transparent and fair judging process. Not the least, we thank for his availability and support to Mr. Adrian Sandu, Secretary General of Acarom, who will conduct the discussion of CEO Leaders Debate, and to our friend Colin Lovering, MC for Gala ceremony. Now, let me introduce our first speaker, Mr. Laszlo Toth, Risk Advisory Partner, Deloitte Hungary, who has the presentation, of the presentation, Cybersecurity, one of the hardest challenges of the new automotive ecosystem. Mr. Laszlo?
Okay, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you very much. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts here. As you heard, my name is Laszlo Toth. I'm working as a partner for Deloitte CyberX Services, and I have more than 20 years experience in cyber, especially in penetration testing, which means my main point of view is the attacker point of view, which can be quite useful when you try to secure an ecosystem. Today, I will show you why we can say cybersecurity is one of the hardest challenges for the automotive industry. On this slide, I listed examples for megatrends in the automotive industry. There are, of course, far more out there. Even on this event, you will discuss far more. However, I choose these ones because they have at least one common point. They are all heavily information technology driven. They all need backend system, cloud services, web applications, mobile applications, and even complex solution inside the vehicle. And if a cybersecurity expert sees the transformation like this, they start to worry or start being happy because more work on the horizon. But let's see what does this mean from the bird's eye view. Not so long time ago, our vehicle was quite simple. We had the radio, we had the CD player, maybe we have the GPS in the car, in the small screen, and considering the digitalization of the car, meaning how many small computers or ECUs were in the vehicle, the number was relatively low. And this picture just completely changed. It started with the mobile phone. We wanted to connect the mobile phone to our cars, which means the Bluetooth appeared inside the vehicle and the USB connection appeared inside the vehicle. And don't underestimate these interfaces from cybersecurity perspective. For example, during the penetration testing we delivered, in case of the USB, in some cases, we were able to achieve the highest privilege on the infotainment system because of the improper implementation and design of the update process through the USB interface. But if the mobile phone is so useful and in the car, why we don't give a car its own mobile connection? And if it has its own mobile connection, then why is not able to connect to the internet? And if it is connected to the internet, why we don't share this internet connection with the passengers? Meaning the car became an internet cafe with its own Wi-Fi network. And if it's already connected to the internet, why we don't start collect data like telematics data from the car or even sending commands to the car? And if it is possible, why we don't create mobile application or web application that the owners can log into and do something with their car? And if we look at this picture, we just understand or realize how the attack surface of the vehicle exploded in the last years. There were another trends in the automotive industry, a little bit segregated from these, that the digitalization of the vehicle inside, meaning how many small computers or ECUs can be found nowadays inside the vehicle. 6 years ago, when we conducted a penetration tested in a high-end vehicle, it contained 50, 60 ECUs interconnected with a complex bus system, CAN bus, Automotive, Ethernet. So this adds to the complexity. And what the future brings? Of course, another complexity. If you just consider the autonomous driving challenge, the car will have more sensors, depending on which technology will win. And this more sensor data should be processed. Also, they say the car will communicate with its environment, meaning vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to infrastructure, respectively V2V or V2I technology, which means a complex public key infrastructure, which means a complex cryptography infrastructure. And inside the vehicle, the ECUs, the small computers, getting more and more powerful. Just giving you an example. Virtualization technology born in our data centers. When we were able to buy a very expensive hardware, we wanted to use that hardware for multiple purposes. But the segregation has to be there, so we invented the virtualization technology. The same virtualization technology will appear inside the vehicle. For example, the infotainment system functionalities and the instrument class test functionalities may be supported on one hardware. But of course, they has to be segregated because of the different safety level, if I remember well. That's why the virtualization may appear there. The another thing, if the autonomous driving will be there, the cars should make decision. And for this, machine learning and AI technologies is needed there. So we can say the kit from the Knight Rider series, the self-driving talking car, is not a sci-fi anymore from the 80s or 90s series. So as a summary of the first part of the presentation, if we look at the cybersecurity of the vehicle, we have to look at a complex interconnected ecosystem where the vehicle is just one part of it, but a very complex part. If this kind of translation happens in an industry, typically two major trends apply pressure for better cybersecurity risk management. The first one is the cybersecurity community itself. If they see something new, they go in there and just look around. In the last 6 years, several research papers were published in the subject. And this research paper proved to the public the ecosystem can be vulnerable. I just listed some of the examples. And I filtered these examples from based on two rules or conditions, meaning they are early, so we can say they are pioneer in this area. And secondly, they touched different level of the vehicle ecosystem. For example, from going very close to the ECU and investigate it at the circuit level, reverse engineering the software in it, just to understand how they can influence the car behavior after they got a foothold by other means. In that given research, they got that foothold. Or they didn't touch the car at all, but went enter the mobile application and the supporting backend infrastructure with the web application APIs, and they found a problem there. And with that problem, they were able to influence the car remotely. Obviously, other cars. Or they attack the car directly through the wireless interface, the internet cafe Wi-Fi connection. And because of a design and implementation error, they will be able to switch off the alarm system of the car. Of course, there are many others out there, and all of them just prove the target can be the vehicle itself, its supporting system, or even the given individual ECUs. The another force, especially in a well-regulated area, just like the financial systems or financial industry or the automotive industry, the another force is typically the regulation. The industry recognized the cyber risk is increased. Therefore, the UNEC World Forum for Harmonization of Vehicle Regulation, WP29 shortly, proposed two new regulations. The first one is the OEM needs to have a cyber security management system that governs the whole life cycle of the vehicle, of course, from cyber perspective. The second one, the OEM needs a software update management system, naturally. And also, the industry created a new standard, the ISO 21434, just try to explain more deeply what an OEM needed to have to be able to comply with the cyber security management system regulation. And this contains processes and cyber capabilities that you need here. And currently on the market, the pressure is high, because if you look at the timetable from 2020 to July, if an OEM would like to put on the market a new vehicle type, they have to be able to prove to the authorities the life cycle of that given vehicle type is governed by a cyber security management system. And why does this require significant resources from an OEM? Because a new strategy, new processes, new structures, new governance model, and several cyber capabilities should be designed and implemented around the vehicle life cycle. And this is the whole life cycle, not just from starting the development until start of the production, but from starting from development and even after the car is sold to the customer and the car is running on the road. Just for that, you may need, just giving you one example for the complexity, you need maybe a car security monitoring there, which means you may need a vehicle cyber operations center that collects data from the car on the road, and just imagine how big a fleet can be, and try to analyze this data and decide whether the car is under attack, cyber attack, or not. Another example that I'm going to give you later is the cyber security validation example, because of course the penetration testing happens there. What is the current state? Deloitte, I can say, is a market leader in helping clients on this compliance journey. And thanks to that, because our experts work for global OEMs and the global market, we're able to create a CSMS global benchmark. And here I just wanted to emphasize two messages from them. The first one, of course, there are 4 runners. The deadline is close, and they already working on this and implementing the necessary processes and cyber capabilities. However, still lots of work has to be done. And the second one, even there are countries that are not affected, big markets not affected by the UNEC regulation. But the OEMs on the market thinks that regulator will issue a similar regulation around cybersecurity, which basically will be based on the WP29 issued regulation. So this regulation will be a long-lasting effect. I promised another example. So let's get to the experience we collected during our penetration testing projects. So the ecosystem is complex and the threat landscape is complex. It affects all systems around the vehicle and the vehicle itself. So therefore, when you apply penetration testing, as one of the most effective methods for the cybersecurity validation. There are many other tests that you have to apply, but one of the most effective is the penetration testing. So to have these cyber capabilities, you have to build a multidisciplinary team and a complex lab environment. Just giving you some examples, and the pictures that you can see on the slides now, it's from our automated hardware IoT testing lab in Budapest. You need hardware testers who can go close to the circuits, who can understand what does it mean firmware and what does it mean reverse engineering. You're also able to test on the special bus system like CAN bus, Automotive Ethernet, FlexRay, and of course the special hardware interfaces like I2C and SDIO. What you can see on the screen, to be honest, I'm quite proud of it because they were designed and developed my team to be able to conduct those tests. You also have to have the capability to go after the wireless interfaces, including the GSM, the mobile part. And when I'm mentioning wireless, I'm not talking about just the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth, but also about the NFC or anything around the car that can be RF. For that, you need software-defined radios or the Faraday cage that you can see on the screen. And of course, you need the standard mobile application and backend testing capabilities, which should be found in any normal cyber organization. And the last picture or the last points that I wanted to mention here, even the standard says you have to train your people. You have to make sure your organization or the OEM organization understands what are the cyber risks around automotive. That's why we also created our own training for our people or our practitioners, and we created a simulated automotive ecosystem, and we created test cases in there that is just coming from our penetration testing experience. And as a summary for my presentation, the megatrends in the automotive industry created an interconnected ecosystem around the vehicles. Besides this, the vehicles became more and more complex considering the digital technology point of view. And both of these just increase the attack surface of the vehicles. The results of the published research paper just showed that this new ecosystem can be vulnerable. And even I can confirm this from our penetration testing experience. Therefore, the industry created regulation, meaning an OEM should have a cybersecurity management system that governs the whole cyber life cycle of the vehicle, even when the vehicle is on the road. And to build up a cyber team that is capable of tackle of the challenges in the automotive cyber topics, you need a multidisciplinary team that can understand the hardware security issues until the mobile and backend system. So thank you very much for your attention. That was my thoughts that I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you, Laszlo. Thank you very much for your presentation. And please, if it's possible, to stop the share screen. Thank you. Now we'll start the CEO debate, CEO leaders debate. And let me introduce now our panelists. Mr. Christoph Ridi, MD Renault Group Romania, CEO Automobile Dacia, Mr. Jan Pearson, President Ford Romania, Mr. Cristian von Albrisfeld, Head of Country Continental Romania, Mr. Cristian Cârstoiu, Digital Enablement and Chief Innovation Officer Partner EY Romania, Mr. Mihai Boldijar, General Manager at Robert Bosch Romania and Bulgaria, Mr. Radu Pavel, Country Manager NXP Semiconductors Romania, Mr. Andreas Lier, CEO BASF Romania, Mr. Cătălin Stratulat, Engineering Head Europe, Industrial and Engineering Services Wipro, and Mr. Adrian Dobre, General Manager Clarwin. Now I invite Mr. Adrian Sandu to start the moderation of this CEO debate.
Thank you, Mirela. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today at this event. I'm sorry that we didn't have the same edition as last year with physical presence, but we adapt in this difficult time. We all are in the pandemic situation. So since March, the automotive industry, Europe, and also in Romania felt great hit from the COVID-19 situation. And we want to be again on the horse, as we say, and we want also to restart the business in Romania and to have a good automotive industry and a good turnover. We have a very important panelist today. We have very important panelists. There are top 4 companies in the Romanian automotive industry present here today out of 5. We don't have Daimler, but we will have a lot of topics to be discussed here. I will start with we are in the phase of COVID. We are facing in different stages this situation. And my first question will be for Mr. Dridi, Christophe Dridi. What have we learned during this 8 months of COVID situation, and what are the measures that we must adopt in order to restart the automotive industry in Romania?
Thank you very much, Adrian. Hello, Mirela. Hello, everybody. It's a great honor to be with you today in this special context. But now I will say that we're used. My first thought will go to all these people, to all these companies who are currently facing this very, very critical situation. It was unpredictable, and really we have to be really empathic and understand that the situation is really special, and that we have to take care, of course, of our company. We have to take care of our employees, but we have also to take care of all the people who are around us. Of course, our suppliers, but we have to think that the young students that cannot go to school. We have to think about all of this. So my first thought would go to this, and to say that in addition of being responsible of the health of our people, I think that we have a responsibility of unity, of solidarity with the environment, and that corporate social responsibility has never been so important for us. To answer more directly, first, Adrian, we had to adapt. We had to, more than ever, the agility became reality. Agility became normality. We have to adapt to the situation. We have to create our way of working. And in special, we say that, but it's very strange. COVID has not created a new way of working. It has accelerated, it has boosted already existing new methods of working that I don't know why many people had some breaks in their mind saying, no, telemunca nu este posibil, digitalizare nu este posibil, all this. So it became possible because we had no choice. And many times in life, it's like that. You do it because you're obliged to do it. And telemunca, so teleworking, digitalization, and one very, very important point, the principle of subsidiarity. More than ever, we have to trust our teams. We have no choice. They're working from home, they're working from somewhere, but this is very good because you're a good manager when you trust your people. If you think that you have to be always behind your team and check what they are doing, I'm sorry, you have to go back to the 19th century or the 20th century, but it's too late. So you have to watch, this film in French, it's Retour vers le futur, but it's too late for this. So what would be, because you had two questions, the faster recovery, to be very quick and to let my colleagues to speak to, I would say that we need to have a quick recovery, Adrian. We need flexibility, and Kurzarbeit is very important. We need at this time in order to be agile, in order to react, we need flexibility. This is the first point for me, which is important. The second point, because we are in the automotive industry, we need more than ever to favorize the clean cars, the green cars, and we should more than ever fight against these used cars which are invading Romania. For me, this is, unacceptable. These all used cars which are polluting, which are not safe. And finally, the third, but I hope I will have the chance to develop later, it's to support, to develop the local integration, to have more suppliers settling in Romania. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christophe, for your insight. I will step a little bit to Jan Pearson from Ford, which I know that this year faced a difficult situation with COVID, also increasing production with the production of the second model for the Puma. How was it Ford, Jan? How did you manage?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, to be able to talk to you. I'd like to just echo a lot of what Christophe has said. I think the key thing that came out of this whole thing is just how flexible and adaptable our people are. That's the most important thing for me, is that, we went from full production to zero production almost overnight. And we went from zero production to almost full production within 1 to 2 weeks. And in a very different environment, in an environment where clearly, and this is a common theme across, all partners in automotive, we protect the health and safety of our employees. That was always, and I know I can speak on behalf of everyone else, our number one aim. So having gone from an environment of full production to almost complete stop, and then to go back to full production and putting all the measures in, just is a shining example of flexibility, adaptability of our people. And as Christophe said, life didn't stop during those couple of months. We were still trying to, develop and launch new models. So behind all of that, whilst we weren't making, life went on in terms of making sure that when we came back stronger, not as equal, but stronger than ever, and I know, having conversations across, a lot of my colleagues, that is true across the whole industry. But I think what the automotive industry provided was a kind of shining light in terms of the importance of the health of our people. That was number one, and we came together as an automotive group. We had all of the safety professionals come together and share ideas. In these kind of situations, in these pandemics, we are not competitors, we are collaborators, because, our people's health and safety is the number one thing. And again, just to echo something that Christophe said, before the pandemic, to try and do digitization, to try and have digital signatures, everyone's saying, oh, this is really difficult. Within 2 weeks, I'm signing everything through a digital system. So something that wasn't possible before suddenly became possible. So I think it has provided and will provide not just lots of opportunities, but it has provided a new way of working that we just need to build upon as we go forward. So yeah, clearly, this has been a terrible situation for lots of people. People who've unfortunately, lost friends and family or have been sick, as Christophe said. It's disrupted the lives of millions of people across Europe. And, it's still around us. It is still around us, and it will take some time, particularly for the effects of coronavirus to disappear from the environment. But I take heart from the fact that, out of adversity comes improvement and opportunity. And I think, No, I can only speak on behalf of the automotive industry, and I think we've shown that in spades. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Anne, for insights. I will now pass to Christian von Albrisfeld, which is the CEO of the biggest Romanian employer, as we know, and he has a lot of plants in Romania and a lot of offices. How did you deal with all this working? Christoph and Jan told us about teleworking. How did you manage to do it during this time? Christian, you're online.
Yes, now I'm also unmuted. I hope you hear me.
Okay.
So, yes, I think it was for everybody of us a very interesting and intensive experience. To just, I think we were all thinking this is a virus somewhere in China, and then from one day to the other day, we realized that it's so close that finally we nearly evacuated our overall activities and moved people. We have nearly 7,000 people which are working in office jobs, and moved here with all equipment and also test benches and whatever home. So this was mainly a weekend and 2 additional days activity, and then all the people in R&D and in the corporate functions mainly worked from home in springtime. And this was also something where before we were never thinking. Of course, we had the concept of also working from home in a certain restrictive form. We were, like I think all of you, always discussing how more can we still do this? Are we losing too much efficiency? Is this possible? Whatever. And then from one day to the other way, we showed one day to the other day, we showed it's possible and it's working. And of course, I still believe there will be in future, also after a crisis, there will be, of course, we will have learned a lot of how to deal. But I guess one topic which we also learned is it's working for a certain time. It's working also that you have mainly in a way of nearly freelancers all around working. But if you need to look for a community of creativity, here we just need to look also to just increase more the way of working, collaborating together. And somehow people are not digital natives. And maybe 100,000 years of evolution will not be replaced just with some years of electronics. So a real good discussion with 10, 15 people, creative, with a coffee break and so on, it's very difficult to emulate by electronic ways. So, but nevertheless, we just managed it, and it's exactly the part, like Ian just explained this. Then also we looked how to shut down and to bring to longer vacation our planned activities, where maybe we did not get any more commands because otherwise the plants were standing, the car manufacturing plants were standing, how to just ramp it immediately again up to see whether our suppliers, whether also the customers are doing this from one day to the other day. So here, this was a very interesting period. And what we clearly needed is, it was mentioned already, flexibility, agility, looking maybe every week to a new plan of delivery. What do we need? What is the customer really needing? So different topics which just brought us agility a lot of closer. But the most important topic, it was meant already or said by Christoph, is really to ensure the health of our people. So we have 20,000 employees, more than 20,000 employees in Romania. And just the statistics shows that with the cases which we have overall in the Romanian society, of course, also here we will have it. And this is something where we also were working first, of course, to ensure that in the company, we nearly don't have any cases by transmitting inside the company. And really, that's totally interesting. our overall cases, so direct transmission infection in the company, is somewhere, it's absolutely less than 10% of the infections of our people are coming out of the company. So nearly 95% of all the infections are coming out of the private life. So people are isolated at home or good protected at the work. But when afterwards going home, the human beings want to socialize, which is totally understandable. And also here we were looking for our social responsibility in all the direction. And what we made is, for example, then also webcasts with well-known people from epidemiologic societies. So this was Mr. Popovic, Dr. Musta, which we have here, Dr. Sandesk from the Society of the Intensive Care, to just try to bring to our people, but it also can be reached by internet now, by everybody on our pages, to understand the functions of COVID behind and how to behave, that also you are safe in the private life.
Thank you, Christian. We are facing a lot of challenges, and as you said, one challenge is linked with the people, with the availability of the people and how we can protect our teams working in the plants, but also in the offices. I'm now passing to Mihai Boldijar, asking him, Mihai, you are managing the activities of Bosch or in Romania, but also in Bulgaria. How can a CEO, as a leader and the leader of an organization, can capitalize the current challenges in order to enhance and also to promote the company competition and advantages?
Thank you very much, Adrian, and good afternoon to all participants, panelists and colleagues from the automotive industry. And thank you very much, Mirela, for organizing such an event, which is, of course, different from what we have, let's say, had before. I think it was a lesson for all of us, and it is a lesson for all. So no one was actually trained, no one was, let's say, facing such a disruptive event in our career. So we had basically to face it. We have to find the solutions. We have to engage the people. We have to communicate maybe in a total different way, just to make sure that the mood in the company remains positive, to make sure that the people will have trust in us. And of course, this atmosphere is actually to create such an atmosphere in a teams which are working from different locations, and all of a sudden from their homes, it's very difficult. So I would say navigating in this challenging times is not a very easy task. And I would say what makes us successful, because I will dare to say that we were successful at the end of the day, is to have this versatile leadership style. Versatile leadership style, the topics has been actually touched by Christoph and by Jan. I think means this adaptive leadership style, which very nicely HBR is describing as a 4A, which means anticipation, which means adaptation, which means accountability, and which means articulation. I mean, communicating all the time, taking information from trustful sources, conveying the right messages to the people, engaging the people, and by the end of the day, shifting towards inclusive leadership style. So it's about a very intense cooperation between leaders and people and staff You can't take decisions by your own in these times. You have to engage the people, and you have to listen to their needs, because the needs are totally different as we had in a normal, before the pandemic starts. And again, you have to develop this kind of sensors within your organization, and to make sure that the decision you are taking are the best for the people. And also having teams which are sitting in 2 different countries was also a challenge. But with these measures and this kind of, let's say, building trust in each other, we have succeeded. We are not there yet. So I think it's quite a way to get out of the forest, because things will not change by end of this year or beginning next year. We have to continue to understand that this way of working will last for a while. And this is also something you have to, because people are maybe waiting for the year end, and the new Eve will bring something new. No, it will not bring something new, unfortunately. And this has to be explained and has to be accepted, that this will last for a while. We will go out of the forest. We will be much stronger, as Jan said, rightly said, definitely. But we have to admit that it will take a while since we will be actually again together in our offices, premises, and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Adrian, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, now?
Yes.
Now? Okay, this is the difficult technical situation when we are online. So thank you, Mihai, for your insights, and please continue to do the same good job in Bosch and with your teams. I have some friends in Bosch teams, so they appreciate a lot of what you're doing there. As you mentioned before, we are facing a lot of challenges at this moment. The automotive industry is facing some changes at this moment. One with teleworking, but the other ones are the new trends in automotive in mobility. And one is electrification, connected cars. And I will ask here Cătălin Stratulat, what is his opinion about this, and how do you see the future of this automotive industry and the next trends facing these challenges?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So indeed, there are some trends. We are facing, like previous colleagues have spoken. There are some things that we thought we will never be able to do it, or it will take a long time. And due to this unprecedented situation, we realized that somehow it's simple or simpler than we thought. So before the pandemic started, let's say 1 year ago, the automotive industry had already some challenges, and there were already some what is called mega trends at work in changing this industry. And specifically, that was connected, autonomous, shared, and electric, or CASE. And the questions that everyone was asking, let's say 1 year ago, was who's going to pay for that? Because billions are needed to put out these modern cars with advanced features. But somehow expected, the consumers were not exactly willing to pay for them. Less than 30% on average are willing to spend, or were willing to spend, more than $500. So of course the question was how to get there. Then Suddenly, even though this was predicting the way forward in automotive pretty difficult, suddenly in the beginning of 2020, poof, the COVID started, and all the predictions went havoc, and everyone was started to scratch their head what to do next. So let's have a quick look what happened with these 4 mega trends. Probably the simplest to tackle is the shared mobility. Well, shared, of course, has a completely new meaning in the new context, and everyone is a lot more wary of sharing the space in the same transportation vehicle. And this probably will only mean that going forward, it will be more car sharing, so time sharing, than ride sharing, meaning that people will feel a lot safer driving in a single car for a given amount of time than jumping into a car with a bunch of other people. Also, this future of work, or with a lot of people working from home, as it was discussed before, is here to stay. We're not sure if in, let's say, 1 or 2 years, we will completely go back to our old offices. But the anticipation is that a lot of work that was deemed to be possible now to be done from home will continue. And that will only mean consequence for the commuting, the commuting miles that a lot of cars were used for will go down. So that's a problem. Actually, from those 4 trends, the biggest one that is at play right now is for sure the electric mobility, and that was mentioned also by all my previous colleagues. Today, China is clearly king of the hill, with probably about half of the global EV that are sold today. But even so, Europe is doing a lot of work to make this technology happen, and probably everyone has heard it. It made a lot of head news pretty recently when UK just announced that they will not be selling any internal combustion engine cars from 2030 anymore. And from 2035, there will be only pure electric. UK was only the last one, but Norway already, they were there. I think they announced a while ago that the date for them will be 2025. France just doubled the bonus for EV cars up to 12,000 euros and so on. So the expectation is that electric vehicles will reach somewhere around 15% maybe next year in Europe, which is a lot compared even with last year. Not the least, think about that today. Another thing that made a lot of head news is that Tesla has become the highest value automaker in the world. They are heading towards $500 billion, which is roughly the value of nearly entire auto legacy industry combined. Why is that? Well, 2 reasons could be behind that. One is that market investors, they believe that Tesla will eventually capture almost 100% of the global auto market, which of course seems completely unlikely. Or the investors believe that the EV model, battery power, technology, related infrastructure, and all the ecosystem that Tesla is putting out are creating an entirely new auto industry rather than disrupting the existing one. So pandemic will only accelerate the shift to electric mobility. It would be naive to believe that us as consumers, after some months, when eventually the pandemic will cease or will go down, we will go back to the showroom and ask for more diesel cars. Probably the reality is that everyone will ask for more electric cars. So I will just stop here, and we'll continue with the trends, because I'm sure the subject will come up during this discussion.
Adrian, we cannot hear you.
Adrian.
I will pass now to Andreas Lier, BASF. How are you doing? How is a supplier of materials is doing in Romania? And about this trend of electrification, green cars, how can BASF can support these trends?
Yeah, so many thanks for this question. And first of all, also good afternoon to all. I'm happy to be with you here together. E-mobility is, of course, an important part. I will come to this, but not only. So as BASF, we have a very broad portfolio. We are feeling basically in all industries the pulse of the industry daily. And of course, also in the automotive value chain. I mean, from OEMs, tiers, and so on, we are feeling this daily. What is happening there? And what we have seen actually was a sharp downturn in April and May, and then fortunately a good recovery since July, now into October, and hopefully further to November. And with many of you here in the panel, we are working. You are our good customers, and also here a great thanks to you all for the quick adoption of the processes and the collaboration we are doing in these challenging times. So it's not only about electrification. I believe we have to consider all kinds of eco-friendly powertrains. What we see, what will be the powertrain of the future? Of course, electromobility will be here, play a role, but we see also that highly efficient combustion engines, hybrid powertrains, electric mobility, and even more technologies are leading us into a future of lower emissions. And these new forms of mobility needs, of course, also stable and a good political framework. And we think for Europe, the birthplace of the automotive, we should be not once again behind as currently with electromobility. We have to be open and to explore them all and lead the industry. So we as BASF, we have a much larger view. We participate in the value chain, as said already, with many partners, positioning here ourselves as a leading partner and supplier of innovative solutions for electromobility. And for example, for the batteries at the moment, we have a battery, we have a cathode plants, we are working on battery materials. So soon, I would assume in 2-3 years, there will be cars available, and we have a significant contribution where you can go with the electric car twice as currently, from 300 to 600 kilometers, and charging time will be reduced by 50 minutes. So a lot of things happening. And here we are working with our partners in the entire value chain. And as said, it's much broader than electromobility. And in this area, there's to do a lot. I mean, what is driving the market? We all know this, that are the CO2 emission limits. And for example, a company like Volkswagen, in order to comply with this, and by 2030, they have to have 40% of their entire fleet, for example, should be new energy vehicles. Let's call it like this, not only battery vehicles or electric vehicles, new energy vehicles. And this is a driving force at the moment. And here we are very active with a lot of topics like battery material. Lightweighting is playing a core role for us, like plastic materials, which are quite light now. We have designing machineries like ultra sim and ultra test, so we can design out of metal materials now, plastic materials which have the same abilities and strengths like at the moment the material from metals. So there are a lot of things at the moment happening in our company, and we have a broad reach into the entire value chain with all the partners here. And we believe there's a lot to do, and it needs efforts and support from all partners and collaborations. And I believe we will come also on this topic a bit later.
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. Radu Pavel, country manager in XP Semiconductors. You are seeing an increase in your turnover. You have new projects at this moment. How do you see the trends?
Well, in terms of trends, indeed, what we saw was that the entire market in automotive was being overly cautious as we went through this pandemic, right? So there was at some point a decline, a global decline in the automotive industry, but it was just for a few months. What we see in the last weeks and months is that there is at least an apparent very fast recovery. And that means for us, for sure, accelerating a lot our projects and what we need to do to drive this. But talking about trends, I want to maybe dig a bit deeper on what we are talking about when we talk about electrification, connected cars, autonomous drivers, and so on. It starts, if you want to, with the word everything. Everything needs to become aware going forward, right? We need more sensors. Everything needs to be smart. We need to have all kinds of processing that gives comfort finally to the user and safety. Everything needs to be connected, efficient, and they're talking here about new ways of driving down the overall consumption in combustion engines today, but also electric cars tomorrow. And everybody wants to feel safe and secure. So these are some of the trends that are part of what we are doing at NXP, the core of what we do and what makes us to be today the global leader in semiconductors for automotive. And yeah, that meant for us a lot of projects related to these areas. So if we look, for example, at radar, which is becoming more and more part of existing cars today, and for sure cars of the future, if we look at data generation, where there is an exponential growth of data being generated in the cars, all of those need, for example, a high throughput connection between the car and the infrastructure. You need this type of in-car service gateways. You need to have over-the-air upgrade capabilities such that you can update the software that runs in your car. And truly, this software is driving the cars in 2021 and going further. And for that reason, the word safety and security are part of what we are doing every day. So coming back to the projects themselves, indeed, this exponential growth on software requirements towards the product is what we see also in our team in Romania. We are not as large as our colleagues at Continental, who are really the largest employer in Romania. We are just 500-ish, almost going to 600 now. But still, for us, this was a time of being careful, right, with our people. These are indeed the most valuable asset of our company. NXP Worldwide, for sure, with our 30,000+ employees, had an interest of protecting our people to be able to deliver on this increasing number of projects. And work from home has been for sure a challenge in terms of balancing finally, and this is what we hear more and more for our employees, balancing how many hours they spend at work, when do they leave for home. For us going, they're already home, right? So that's the challenge. And this was one of the things that we wanted to see how we can help our employees and doing this type of reviews on our spend and also surveys to understand how they feel, what are the key pain points they're facing. Because staying productive during this time for us was key, but also making sure we have engineering and services population that really delivers also in the next day and next weeks. So we are proud to say that we had no direct contamination cases in the office, probably also because there are majority of us working from home, I would say 95% plus. And that was one of the key achievements. Coming back to the trends themselves, we talk about electrification. And here, where NXP is also a leader with our battery management systems, inverters, and highest real-time performance for microcontrollers and processors, and this is where our S32 family of processors really shines. But let's keep in mind that this is not the only trend. For sure, electrification is the future, but we need to also think about what happens today and tomorrow. And one thing that people don't realize in automotive, there are longer life cycles. So you are working today for the processors that will be available in maybe 5-6 years, and then there will be part of components from our customers that will be available in the market maybe in the next, I don't know, 3-4 years after going through all the cycles of testing. And finally, when they reach the market, they are, already maybe 7 to 10 years in the making. So this is really long cycle compared to, for example, a consumer market. And what this means is, first of all, the overall product is much safer. This is why you could trust your life with a car, right? This is a different space than going for a mobile phone or something else that normally has something like a 1-year cycle. And that also means all this effort requires companies like NXP to really, if you want, divine the future. So know what will be relevant 10 years from now rather than what is relevant next year. So that's where the team currently works, and I'm really proud of our engineering team and of the products they are creating, and they keep creating for finally giving a better user experience, both inside the car, so talking about infotainment and broad connectivity that is available, but also in the things that you don't see, so outside of the cockpit, inside the engine, inside the various sensors and systems that allow ADAS type products to happen.
Thank you, Radu. Thank you for your insights. I will now pass to Adrian Dobre, General Manager of Clarwin. How can you see this from your perspective, and what Clarwin does in these difficult times?
Oh, thank you, Adrian. Hello, everybody, and I would like to share with you on one side the happiness of being together again, on the other side the sadness of not matching the forecast we had in July, back in July in the previous meeting, when we was all so happy that we can meet in person, and we all hope that by autumn we will be for sure together in a long and nice and face-to-face event. Now we are facing face-to-face, but this is the face-to-face of the last month. Nevertheless, yeah, it's as the previous colleagues from the industry just shared before, it's a new normality. We need to be pragmatic with the time and to do not name anymore that we are claiming about the fact that we need to behave differently than we used to be happy with. So we in Clarwin, we have the role of supporting the industry. As you might know, we are not the direct manufacturers, as proud you've seen that the previous speakers was mentioning achievements during this period of time. So our main goal during those times it's to secure the continuity of supporting the industry with all the competencies we have. And the pandemic period for us was a period where on one side we could spend some extra time on trainings, on going deeper even with the knowledge regarding the trends, regarding the new products, the new lines of innovation in our technology field, and this brought the positive part of being in peace, or not in the run from one project to another, from one side to the other. But as we are all engineers patient about having a touchable meaning of our work, the impatient of being again in the processes, deep in the processes of the automotive, as we are now in the automotive forum, was quite a stress in the organization. Nevertheless, regarding the topic raised now, and this means the trends for the automotive industry in terms of electrification and connected cars and autonomous driving, I must say that from our perspective, 2021 will not bring too much in terms of autonomous driving, as it is not yet a mature enough market. It's on the run, but it's not yet there. So then definitely the consumers will be choosing electrified cars. Will continue to follow the trend of this. But in terms of autonomous cars, this was still just a 2021 will represent just a step forward, but not a touchable thing, at least not on a large scale. Nevertheless, electrified cars are contributing to the reduction of pollution inside the cities, but also are more expensive for the manufacturers. So the pressure over the cells actually for the consumers who would like to have accessible non-pollution environmental friendly option for their movement, the pressure of the consumers will continue to increase, and the pressure of the final cost of the final product, it's something which imposes very interesting projects of cost saving for the manufacturers, so that end of the day the final cost per unit will be affordable for the customers, for the consumers. So here we are in Klarwin very much dedicated, and we are daily implementing technologies that optimize manufacturing processes to reduce the final cost per unit. And when we are talking about energy, most of the companies are always are nowadays looking to the energy footprint as well as the water footprint, and those things can contribute to a better perspective for the electrified cars, in our opinion. We are always happily stepping in any challenging project for innovation to our customers, to our partners from the industry. And I must say that the last month of pandemic situation was not bringing boring behavior from this perspective. So industry is moving in a good direction of following the innovation in whatever can bring better value for money for the end users. And I'm happy that the Klarwin is part of this challenging goal for now and for the next steps.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you for your insights and for your thoughts. You are mentioning about the customer. You are mentioning about the customer and how the customer will change its opinion when buying a new car. I know that Cristian Cristoiu, our colleague from our panelist colleague from Ernst & Young, did a study on these customer preferences. Can you share with us?
Hi. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. Hi. So good afternoon, everyone. Bună ziua, bonjour, and guten tag. I think I've kind of covered all the languages spoken here. So indeed, we've finalized the survey about a couple of weeks back. The survey was done across a number of countries in the region, including Romania. That was between September and October. And just for the sake of the discussion, I'll probably focus more on the Romanian results. The study is also published on our EY website, so it's free to download as well. I think the most important finding that came out of the study was that roughly 50% of the respondents have been actually involved in some form of a delaying of a decision to buy a new car. So essentially, they were affected by the COVID-19, particular with respect to having their revenues affected. So and only roughly about the other 50% saying that the plans of actually buying a new car have not been affected. So out of the 50% that were affected, roughly about 15%, so 15%, were said, I'm actually going to delay the acquisition completely up until just buying a new car is necessary. So my old car just falls. And roughly about 10% saying that they're going to delay it for something around up to 2 years. The rest are let's say anywhere between 6 months to 18 months. So quite an important population. It's actually thinking very seriously of delaying the purchase of a new car, and that goes hand in hand with what Christoph mentioning at the beginning, right? That Romania is a net importer of used cars, which has to change quite soon. Also, in order to lower the emissions, right, and also to be part of the Green Deal, of the new regulation that came out of the Ursula von der Leyen. If I look at the let's say the customers that are looking to buy a new car, interesting is that I would say 30% of the Romanian respondents are looking to buy an electric car or a hybrid car, right? So 24% it's a hybrid car and 6% it's an electric car. So that's quite popular. It's interesting. That's quite popular. It's actually the 45 to 60 segments. So almost 40% of the respondents in that segment prefer electric cars and hybrid cars, and lesser in the, let's say, the teenage, which was a bit of a surprise, frankly speaking. But having said that, Romania was known to have the highest incentive for when purchasing a new car. Now France has taken over. So Romania has, I think, still has 10,000 euros upfront for a full electric, and up to 7,000, if I remember correctly, or 6,000 for the hybrid.
Yeah, 4,000.
4,000 hybrid. Yeah.
Okay, so it's obviously that the interest for electric and hybrid cars is growing, and that goes to a certain to a large extent also hand in hand with the investment of the companies that will actually put money forward in not just the infrastructure for the charging station, but also in the services for electric vehicles. And for sure, the incentive granted by the state for the acquisition has contributed to the increase in popularity. And we've seen this, for example, when we've also interviewed people in Czech Republic, where, for example, such a subsidy doesn't really exist, and the interest in the electric cars and hybrid cars, for that matter, it's very low. So that's around the study. I think let's say from the producer perspective, what we found out is that there are quite a bit of worries still, even with the new vaccines being announced and the kind of expected recovery into 2021. There will be a lot of the clients that will be worried going into the dealerships. So what we see is that most of the dealerships, but also the automakers, have started to get a lot of investments into digitalization and kind of the digital engagements of the let's say the segment of the dealerships themselves. So the way where the cars are actually being let's say seen, and people come to feel and touch them. So somehow they're using right now augmented reality, they're using virtual reality to showcase the functionalities and the car itself. And the other important investment, it goes into the e-commerce. So online sales. This is expected to grow. Currently, it sits at around 5% in the EU, but that expects to grow. We expect it to grow between 10 to 11% in 2021. So that's kind of also goes hand in hand with the preferences of the users to let's say use the electronic channels more. So it's not just the, let's say, the typical supermarkets, but also goes to other acquisitions much larger in nature. Yes, sorry, Jan.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you for the conclusion of your study and for the survey. You're saying about the changing customer behavior. They want to buy electric cars, but we think that in Romania there are also other alternatives that can be offered to the customer. So I think here Christoph can mention some of Dacia works and how Dacia was prepared and is preparing for these new requests.
Thank you, Adrian. Yes, for me, it's very interesting to see that in order to answer to the new regulation, in order to answer to the Green Deal, it's very interesting that everybody is speaking only on electric cars. Of course, this is one answer, but I don't think this is the only answer. You know, I remember when I was a student, and I remember one teacher who told me, you know, in life, it's many times, if you have a hammer, everybody will try to say that the problem is a nail, because you have a hammer, you know, and then obviously the problem is a nail. I think that life is more diverse. I think that, and it was the thinking we had in 2018, in 2019. Of course, we heard about CAFE regulation, we heard about the CO2 emission regulation. And of course, electric and hybrid is a solution, but it is not the only solution. The problem is not to go for electric. The problem is to go for limiting, reducing the CO2 emission. So the problem is that, so any solution which will help to reduce the CO2 emission is a good solution. And you know, in Dacia, we like to be out of the box sometimes. We like to be, this is our DNA. We need to find some good solutions, affordable for the customer. This is our DNA, and of course, we want to keep it. And at that time, in 2018, what we said, he said that one quick win solution might be LPG solution. You know that LPG, GPL, in Românești, when you drive 100 kilometers, it's emitting 15 grams less than the gasoline version. So this can be an answer. And especially, you know, when you're in the countryside, especially when you need to make a big travel, especially when you don't have yet the infrastructure. So for many reasons. So again, I'm not saying that electric is not a good solution. Electric is a good solution, but the problem is not a nail. It's more complicated. So LPG is an answer. And you know that it's very interesting. In 2019, 5% of our production in Joven was LPG, was GPL. Now it's 40%, 40. 40%.
Big change.
It means that it's a big change. It's a breakthrough. And it's also an answer to the customer. You know, now we are all customers. When you go at the gas station, of course, you tell me that electric is better. You don't go to the gas station, to the station. You're right. But LPG in comparison with gasoline is almost half price. Almost half price. So LPG is a solution. Biogas, we should think about biogas. When you think about total CO2 emission, when you look at the total life cycle, electric cars, you need to produce the batteries. To do the batteries, you do CO2 emission. What do you do with the batteries after 5 years? What do you do as a recycling? You have many, and this is only a thinking from product point of view. But let me think now from service point of view. There is also other ways. And I think this is how we have to think. I think that electric is part of the future, especially, I would say, in big cities. This might be the solution. I think also that car sharing, as it was said, might be by Catalin, might be a very good solution, the car sharing in the big cities. But we have to think of all the other customers. So I like diversity. So that's why I think that they might have several solutions. Let me dream about biogas, because when I think biogas, especially in Romania, I'm thinking about circular economy. You can think in that way. And I would like to dream with the Green Deal, with the 2021-2027. So, you know, in this very strange context, let me dream a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you, Christoph. Thank you. I'm now coming back to Jan Pearson. How do you see the trends from Ford's perspective, also in Romania and also in Europe?
So thank you, Adrian. I think what we see is that we see, in terms of what we sell today, is there a definite trend towards hybrid, for sure. So 80% of the Pumas that we sell today are mild hybrid. So we produce three. It's mild hybrids, pure petrol, pure diesel. 80% of everything we sell is mild hybrid. So, and what we see as an organization is a move to either it be mild hybrids, plug-in hybrids, or full hybrids over the next 3 to 4 years. We see probably when we get to around 2024, 2025, we see at the moment, ignoring this possibility, Christoph, of another option, yeah, just ignoring that at the moment, putting it to one side. We see that around 24, 25 will be the tipping point between pure electric and other options. And the reason for that time frame is because a number of factors will come in. Clearly, you know, one of the things which is driving this, as Christoph says, is legislation. But just as importantly, legislation is being driven by customers. It's being driven by demand for people. You know, so you know, people understand climate change is real. We got to change our habits. One of our habits is the way that we transport from A to B. So e-mobility, whether it be by a car, by a e-scooter, an e-bike, or some other method of transport, is going to be a reality. But the key thing, I think, from our perspective, is that there has to be, in order to get to that point, there are enablers that have to be put in place. And we see this as a kind of golden triangle. And the golden triangle starts with the customers. So the customers have to have the incentives and the enablers to move to electric. You know, as we said earlier on, you know, electric vehicles at this moment are more expensive to purchase. Over the life cycle, they're lower cost, but initially they are more expensive. That will change as scale becomes a reality. So there needs to be incentives for people to go and purchase electric vehicles or biogas vehicles or something over, you know, traditional diesel and petrol. And importantly, purchase new. You know, not go and have from another country what they can't sell, what they don't want. You know, it's important for Romania that the incentives are there for customers to purchase new or at least, reasonably new vehicles. And therefore the scrappage scheme that the government has put forward and plans hopefully to extend into 2021 is extremely, extremely important, because the incentives need to be there for the customers. The second thing is just the environment or infrastructure to support that. Because the reality is, with a lot of customers at the moment, this fear for electric vehicles, this fear of range anxiety is real. So if I can't charge my vehicle, then I have a vehicle which I can't use. So the whole infrastructure that needs to be put in place that enables, customers to feel confident in the purchase they make, and to feel sure that when they use a electric vehicle, that they have the opportunity clearly to charge that, and to charge that at a reasonable time and frequency. And the last thing, a part of this triangle, are us, if you like, the manufacturers. The costs to move over to electrification are enormous. They are enormous. And therefore, there needs to be, there is a golden opportunity now to go do something special in Romania and the Romanian automotive industry that enables the industry to be ready for what inevitably will come, which is complete and full electrification. Now, whether that's in the forms of grants or incentives or wherever, that's a discussion that we need to have. But I think if we do not have that discussion, and have that discussion quickly, then Romania are going to miss a golden opportunity going forward for electrification, because these conversations are happening in the other EU countries at this moment. And along with that, along with this, electrified or e-mobility, because it's not just about the product. We've talked about how important the software is, how important the data is, how important is connectivity. In the future, customers will expect over-the-air updates. They'll expect full connectivity. They'll expect their data to be safe. And all of that needs software, IT skills. And in the plants themselves, we need the skills in terms of digitization, Internet of Things. So it's not just about going and having, better roads, connected roads, smart signs. It goes further than that. We've got to look at the education. We've got to look at how we're developing and growing our young people, how people are leaving universities with the right skills to not just to come and work, but to expand what is a real opportunity for Romania and the Romanian automotive industry. So I think the next 1 to 2 years are a real tipping point in terms of how we go forward. And then the last thing I will say is, I saw a statistic that in China at the moment, there are currently 100 companies that make electric vehicles. The anticipation is within 2 years, that number will be 200 to 300. These are startups. These are people that don't make electric vehicles today. And, we heard, I think it was Catalin said earlier on, you take Tesla, if you go back 5, 10 years, Tesla were this startup who, with a guy who we thought, okay, he's got some crazy ideas, but, now they're the most valued automotive company. So we've got to think different as automotive companies. We got to think like a challenger. We've got to think like a startup. We've got to be a lot more agile, a lot more flexible. But for me, the next 1 to 2 years are going to be key to how the Romanian auto industry develops.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
We're doing some work with our authorities in Acarom. So we are supporting the incentives for purchasing electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles, but we also talk about upgrading infrastructure, which is very necessary. I'm coming back to Christian von Arbrischer from Continental and asking him, Jan mentioned about the working with training people, students, etc., new projects. How is Continental doing in these times with the universities and also with training workforce for new projects? I believe you have, if I remember well from last year, you have some projects on e-mobility and digitalization. Can you give us an insight? Christian?
Unmute, please, Christian. Unmute.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. But maybe let me just to continue with 1-2 sentences about the topic of electromobility, because I think this is a very interesting topic as a tendency, which mainly is driven, as we all see, by politics. We all know that we need to reduce, and this is exactly what Christoph just said, we need to reduce CO2. That's the major goal, to reduce CO2. And I think here we need to look to the overall production cycle of a car, like also the production, for example, for a battery, like also building the whole infrastructure we need now for electric cars. And for me, one of the figures was absolutely interesting. I'm not sure, 2018, 2019. There was a discussion which I saw with the boss of Volkswagen at that time. So we just said in Wolfsburg will now replace power plants or rebuild power plants for production there instead of using charcoal, to use gas. And with this part of making now the energy for our production there to change this, we will reduce CO2 emission per year with 1.5 million tons. So it's not green energy, it's greener energy. So from charcoal to gas, which finally is the fuel consumption of 870,000 vehicles per year. So just changing the production or the power plant for production in one plant of Volkswagen, 870,000 vehicles per year CO2 consumption. And this interesting, we need to just see, Tesla is producing per year 400,000 cars. So this was 2019. So this means with this, we just have 2 times the whole production of Tesla per year saved as CO2 in the running way. Just to have a little bit the figures in mind, what we discuss when discussing about this tendency. I think exactly what Christoph was just mentioned we need to do. We need to just see how to save most efficiently CO2 because our planet needs this, and to be open for a lot of possibilities of doing this. And also the politics needs to look to incentivize here, not just this one way, but also to look to the alternative way, to the other ways which are existing here. For every car which has not even whatever Euro 2, Euro 3, which is replaced with a clean combustion engine of today, is helping our environment. Coming back to your question regarding education, I think it's very important in this time of changes, what we see currently, to just have well-educated workforce. And now coming back maybe to Tesla, I think everybody looks at Tesla to the one point, which is electromobility. For me, another point is much more interesting in this point, a totally new software and hardware infrastructure. And I think this is mainly the part, we have seen it before in the presentation also, a car becomes mainly or is already a system, a smart system on wheels, And one of the big tendencies will be here also to change the software and hardware structure in the car fully. From now, what we see mainly 100 separate controllers in very big cars into the direction of a server system, of high computing systems here, having their high power computer 3, 4 in the car, and finally bound everything in with sensors and actuators to this. With this part being able then also to make updates, to make all the different activities which we currently know also from our consumer systems, just updates per air, or the whole part of also making here analyzing the car situation by the air. So on the other hand, also this part combined with the security and safety systems which we need for a car. And I think this is one of the major topics which we need to work, and which is one of the directions which we are going, which we are also looking at Continental to just work more in that way. And of course, this means now and then we just need also to have people which have slightly different skills than today. There are new skills which we need: artificial intelligence, big data management. The cars becomes more to a system which analyzes its environment, which understands its environment, interacts with other cars, interacts with the environment in a way of driving us safely from one to the other way, being interconnected and being autonomous. And the final topic, which we also know, of course, it's data security. That will become more and more important everywhere where you have a system which is used very much and is connected. There are some people who are trying to just jeopardize it. You might have heard this year, especially some hospitals are targeted by cybersecurity crimes. So this is, of course, if a car is more connected to the environment, you will find people who try to get to it, and you need to make this safe and secure. And with this, of course, we need to look, we work together with university to just bring here new topics into the curriculum. For example, we were able this year to just start in a university here from a partner university from us, 3 new master classes, one exactly in data security, cyber security, one in big data management and smart city, and one in artificial intelligence. So, and these are, of course, topics which we need in the future. On the other hand, looking from the university one level down to sub-university level, of course, also here we need new skills. We need people who are different enabled on the one hand with our factories. And here we just look very much in the direction of Școala Profesională in Romania to just bring here, to just educate people in to have skilled worker. On the other hand, and this will come then more from the car manufacturers and the repair services, if you have such a computer at a car service, you need to have different people repairing it than maybe the skills you have today. It's somehow software update, it's changing of electronics and so on, things which are much more advanced than we see today. But even, of course, today we have already these tendencies very clear in the car. So these are, I think, the different levels which we need to look at in education, and we just need to work more on this.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you. I will now pass to Mihai Boldijar, asking him the same question. How do you deal with your project? And I know that last year you launched a training center in Cluj, near your plant. So how are you doing with these current activities?
All starts with a need to have in the future more skilled people which are working into our premises. And this is actually starting with the fact that, and it was said before, that everything is actually coming much more complicated as we knew it actually, or let's say a decade before. So a computer on wheel or on wheels is something that you can't repair with your hammer and your very simple tools. So you need an expertise, you need an understanding, you need a very high degree of skills, and this starts actually with also the pre-university level. It's not about just having the university level, and we are also very much involved in the education, high education level, in the technical education level, and the technical universities. But we are actually also doing this sort of activities in our training center, training premises in Cluj. And it was a high investment, actually, a few good million euros, but it works because it's an investment in future. And we are also strong believers that this structural change, which starts a few years back after the Dieselgate, brings actually into attention a different kind of mobility and a different understanding of mobility and a different aware of what mobility means in terms of emissions. And the CO2 footprint has been actually also discussed here. And everything starts actually in the Paris Convention. And when it said, okay, we need to do something to reduce to zero the CO2 emissions. Therefore, the EVs came into play. The EV alone cannot actually save the world. We need total different ways of understanding and the mobility itself. So EV can actually help, but it's not the solution. It has to be combined with all other solutions like LPG and CNG, plug-in hybrid, hybrids, and so on and so forth, and hydro cells. If you are talking about passenger cars, EV can be the solution for cities or for short distance. But if you are talking about transportation, this is a total different picture. If you are talking about trucks, if you are talking about locomotive, if you are talking about vessels, ships, the picture is actually changing. And the big portion of the CO2 footprint is coming from this kind of vehicles. So this is actually changing the entire landscape of transportation and mobility. And of course, to tackle all these challenges, you need skilled people. And to be skilled, you have to actually start from the very maybe not from the kindergarten, but even from the kindergarten, to increase the awareness of having a cleaner world, because we are talking here about a cleaner world. And therefore is our investments, everything we are doing in terms of increasing the skills of the people. I think it's worth and definitely in a very good investment in the future.
Thank you, Mihai. Radu Pavel, what is your opinion about the new pact of skills for automotive industry? How it's in your semiconductor businesses?
So indeed, this new initiative that came in this year, and I think this is quite recent. I think it was announced beginning of November by the EU to create for Europe a pact for skills and finally getting a public-private partnership in creating these skills. I think this addresses exactly the need for education that was mentioned before by Christian, Mihai, Jan, and the others. We desperately need this at industry level. This is not something that will happen overnight. We are seeing an industry which is, by its nature, right? We're talking about connected cars. We are talking about having this exponential growth of complexity and also of interest. I think the car is transforming right now to be the most dynamic product across the entire industry. It's, I think, one of the best industries to be in. And to support this type of growth, we need then the right workforce level. And that is exactly what this Pact for Skills is about. Create an ecosystem that allows the creation of a skilled workforce, either by education in new students, but also by doing this type of existing workforce requalification. So having an opportunity for retraining the existing workforce and going towards supporting what is and what will be in the coming years exponential growth finally. So in a way, yeah, to make a maybe unfortunate comparison, the virus is not the only thing that grows. If we look at how coronavirus grows this year, this is what is going to happen for the automotive industry. And the only way to support that is to take decisive measures. And it's not just about healthcare like we saw now. We need to have similar decisive measures in education and the way that we prepare for this future. Otherwise, at least for us as Romania, we will fall behind. It is very easy and it will just happen overnight. So that's why for us, this is a very important thing that happens now. And we are already in similar programs. So for example, we are partnering with the Polytechnic at Bucharest in a European program for training PhDs. It's called AWARE. But I think it's just, we need to do more, short side.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm passing now to Andreas from BASF. In chemical industry, BASF has a lot of activities, not only in chemical, but also agriculture, also industry purposes, materials. You need a lot of skills. How do you manage inside your company to comply with these requirements for skills, for training? And
yes, that's a good, very
how
good question.
Can you adapt?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, we have to look also a bit more globally and here in Romania. But let me also just come back to this topic first of the electromobility. We see this here that we are talking more about new energy vehicles and not only electric vehicles. It's about CO2 reduction. That is the core what we see. And here's a lot to do. And we should not only focus on this topic of electric mobilities. Also, that is our position here. Yeah, coming back to the topic of skills and trainings. I mean, let's just put a bit into the perspective of the automotive industry. In the automotive industry, in globally, or let me say in Europe, we have around about 50 million people working in the automotive industry, and we are now facing significant changes. And these changes, of course, will impact the entire workforce, and there will be jobs endangered and new jobs created. And this is all about, finally, about competitiveness. Competitiveness of the European automotive industry, and coming back also to your question, competitiveness of BASF, of each of our companies. And here we have to do steps together, and also as companies, training, finding the talents, yeah, keep the talents, develop the talents, give the talents a future in Romania, in Europe, globally. And here, of course, exchange trainings is needed. Working together, as Christian mentioned here, also with universities, quite important. That is really important. Having dual education systems in place, that is something very important. But we have also all now to think a bit more out of the box. I mean, the future will not only require being a chemist, being an engineer, being this or that. It's much more multidisciplinary. So we have to find a much more multidisciplinary approach. Science will be not longer a subject of one study like chemistry. It will be broader. So we need really to connect and bring our people together. And here we have also workshop trainings where we exchange on different educational levels in order to bring a broader education into the company. And let me come also to Romania and the automotive chain, basically. Romania, so we oversee basically the entire automotive value chain. We are working with all. And we believe it's a perfect mix of players here. We have a positioning here of automotive industry, bringing this together with the IT talents, with the engineering sector. There's a lot to do and develop this chain further. Mihai also mentioned this already, and Christian. So it's in our obligation, I would say, responsibility, together with the state, with the shareholders of the government, we as related, automotive related community, we have to take initiative and develop this forward and make this a place to work, a place of success of the automotive industry. There's an excellent possibility, colleagues. I worked a lot of places all over the world. I was so impressed 1.5 years coming over here, what is here given and what we can do here.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank you for your suggestion also. We talked about green cars. We talked about consumer-driven economy. We talk about also some opportunities for electric vehicles, but we are still in the pandemic situation, and we are struggling a lot to keep our businesses on a good level. And as we approach almost the end of the conference, I want to ask each of you to suggest us all together 1 or 2 solutions that you can see to take advantage of this situation and to foster our companies and our turnover in these times and in the closer future, if you have one. Christoph, I will start again with you.
Your question is not easy, Adriana, but first I would like to react on one point and what was saying Christian, for me, what was very important. When we are talking about CO2 emission, we always think of the car. But as said, Christian, for me, it's very important to look at the total picture, to have an helicopter view. And you know, in French, we call that le bon sens paysan. Please, if someone can help me to translate, but I would perhaps we should say common sense. Perhaps
in Romanian, yes. It's moromete. It's a famous book of common people that actually has a lot of sense.
And you know, apart coming from the other place of the world, in order to be put on a car, do we count the CO2 emission of this part? So, and on top of this, during COVID context, when we were not able to produce because the borders were closed, because it was very difficult, do we count that? So for me, more than ever, I think that we have to push for the local integration. We have to push. For me, it's really a competitive advantage. If you have a high level of local integration, it's always easier to work with your neighbor than to work with someone who is at the other part of the world. You don't speak the same language, you have the time difference. I'm not talking, you know, even if you talk with a finance guy, he will say, yeah, yes, it's true from stocks, from free cash flow and so on. If you talk with a quality guy, he will say, yes, 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 it's good for reactivity. If you talk with a product innovative guy, he will say, yes, it's better to work with someone I can understand and exchange. Everybody would say, yes, it's better. But the best guy who will tell it to you, it's Ceran. He will not understand that the part from the other part, coming from the other place of the world, is the best quality and at a better price. So for me, what I would like to really insist on is we have to push for the local integration. This is very important. It will help us to have very strong roots of the Romanian automotive industry. Nobody said it, so I will say it. You remember how the percentage of the GDP that we represent, 14%. You remember the exports that we are representing, 27%. But if you don't have strong roots, you're weak. And if you want to have strong roots, you need to have strong local integration. I'm talking about tier 1, I'm talking about tier 2, I'm talking about tier 3. So I can speak about education, I can speak about many other topics, but I think that one of the lessons I have from this COVID and from, like many of you staying at home, thinking more than ever, is that we really need all together to boost the local integration. For me, fighting against the used car, this is very clear, we have already shared. Preparing the future with education, we have already shared. Infrastructure, we know, this is very important. We have not talked today, but because for all of us, it's obvious, and I'm happy with what is happening in that direction. We talked again about digitalization, debureaucratizare. This is very, I say it slowly, otherwise I'm unable to say it. It's so complicated word for me. But the last one I will add is this one. It's local integration. Local integration will be key for us, for all of us. And frankly, as I say many times, Jan is here. From industry point of view, Jan is not a competitor for me. He is from commercial point of view, of course. And for the commerce, we're in competition. But for industry, the more we will have suppliers in Romania, the stronger all of us we will be. But we will be together, we will be strong. Or each one we will be weak. But to be strong, you have to be, we need to be unified. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christoph. Thank you. Local integration program already managed by Akarom, and we need to push it forward. I am passing now to Jan. What's your suggestion? Yeah.
It's already Akarom, but we have to move from the position 2 of the gear shift to the position 5.
Yes, of course. Thank you. We'll speed it up. Jan?
Difficult at electric cars.
Okay, so we are jumping one.
Yeah, I think your question related to what we learned from COVID and what can we take forward, Adrian? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Christoph just mentioned it. The thing I think that I learned most, and we learned most of an organization, is we looked at everything we do and said, does it actually add value to our customers? And we're all customers. We have customers of our products, but we're a customer every we're a customer every day of the state, of local authorities, of processes that sit within our own organizations. So for me, Christoph said it much better in Romanian. When you take the bureaucratization of our total end-to-end processes, we have got to look at that. We look at it internally, but we are all we can list, and I know we're having a conversation with the state at the moment about where is the greatest value that can be added in terms of just taking some of the waste out of our systems. And for me, that is the greatest learning that we got out of the whole COVID. We talked about flexibility, we talked about working from home, but if it doesn't add value, just stop doing it. If someone's not prepared to pay for it, stop doing it. And that's hard, because we're all used to doing things in a certain way. Now, Christoph mentioned we're all used to, this is the way we think about emissions. This is the way we think about, we're all used to thinking about that because that's the way our brains tend to work. So it's difficult to say, stop doing that. I don't need that. And we have got to encourage that conversation with local authorities, with the state, with education. We have got to encourage that so that what happens is everything that we do adds value. So for me, that was the greatest lesson I learned out of this, and something that we can take forward.
Thank you, and thank you. I see Christian that was eager to say something, so I'm not stopping you.
Adrian, thanks. So I think it was mainly, I think the most learning is that things are working also differently. And so especially the big step which we made in digitalization, a lot of tools were already existing, especially also in our daily life with the authorities, and nothing was working before. Everything you just need to go somewhere to stand in a big queue. And then once also you were there. So from one to the other day, they were able to phone you. You got exactly when to come there, and there was nobody in front of you. There was an application whom you could just manage different topics. So a lot of digitalization and easing administrative efforts for companies, I think, and for the private life. I think this was one of the major topics. And also, of course, what we trained, differences in agility, in leadership, in keeping close to the people by being physically away from them. All these topics just, I think, gave us a big push to just understand that we might think more of the box, because if it's needed, we can do it. And we were all, and I think here I agree fully to Christoph, we just were all working on a common target to make things happening without adding risk to infections. So somehow make it happening in a different way. And we were working together to share best practices, because we are not in these parts supplier or competitor or whatever. No, we are all in the same boat and try now somehow to survive. And to just reduce infections and from our people and ensure them the health. And I think this was the major learning for me, somehow how to go through with this.
Thank you, Christian. I'm going now to Adrian Dobre, Clarwin. Still with us, Adrian?
Yeah, I am with, but I didn't want to start speaking without unmuting the microphone, because I need to switch in two places. Okay, so yeah, the challenges of the pandemic situation are pretty much the same for the entire society. You mentioned about the climate targets somehow for which was also stressing the situation as well in this challenging time of COVID. And as most of the colleagues just mentioned, the COVID situation, it's the one forcing us and our partners to reinvent things in a much more agile way and in a much more flexible way. And I have to say that I would like to really address my thanks to Christoph, because really it's not only that he named it the local integration, that he also proved it in relation with us by the fact that we succeed in a very short time using the local resources to bring added value to Dacia, to the Dacia processes, and to make really fast projects of cost saving, which was not only cost saving, but also environmental friendly solutions. And this means that the movement is towards definitely a good outcome. Sometimes the bureaucratic process inside some both in the governmental institutions, but also in the corporations. It brings postponement or lower speed than necessary in implementing processes or implementing improvements. And we dare to believe that that this is not anymore something which we can afford in this situation. I would say that the outcome of the pandemic situation is that we need to move fast, to react fast, to be faster and more effective in what we are doing, no matter if in protecting the staff of our companies or in implementing a different path of different working path, or whatever other things we are able to do in the processes to deliver the results. So pandemic was also positive from this side that it was facilitating. I must say, without any need of explaining that I'm not an ignorant. I'm living in a society, and we are practically facing all the challenges in order to provide safety to whatever we are doing. And we are actively working in both food and beverage, automotive, in the pharma or in the environmental business. And just to give an example of and to make a bridge with what Christophe mentioned regarding the sources of pollution, because it's not always that the magic stick of electrified cars, it's solving the issue. For example, we succeed during the lockdown, the previous lockdown, because now we are partially in lockdown as well in Romania in parts of the places. In the previous lockdown, we succeed to reinvent ourselves so that we will not jeopardize the deadlines for our customers. So when there was no possibility for us to have hotels for our service engineers during the startup period, what we did, we rented mobile cars, so mobile homes, so caravans, to bring them on site and to make sure that they can fulfill the jobs we committed. Yeah, so this was the way we did. And what we did, we actually encountered in only less than a couple of months in a landfill, for example, we succeed to collect and to burn in a controlled way 1 million cubic meters of biogas. So what happened? This means simply that 1 million cubic meters of biogas are less harmful for the entire atmosphere and the entire citizens around. This on a larger scale, and we were thinking, why not to be collected? Okay, it's an investment, but why not to be collected and instead of burning, to be pushed in the local buses in the city? So those are projects where the automotive industry will play a role in the entire chain of environmental friendly solutions. And I would dare to hope that things are moving, will move faster in this direction within the next month to come. We are just prepared here to support it. We are excited always, as mentioned, to be part of challenging projects. And why not, as engineers, we are really excited to see results, not only statistics. So, thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. Cătălin Straturat, Wipro. How about that? What's your opinion? What's your view?
I like what I love the discussion that's going on here. That's what it means, debate. Is electrification the only way forward, or there is just one of the several? A couple of colleagues mentioned before, I think Jan and Christian mentioned about cars becoming computer on wheels. So that actually brings me to what I believe is maybe the lesson learned from this pandemic. Obviously, we are all online now, and more and more everyone is becoming familiar with what it means connectivity. So cars are not only becoming computer on wheels, but with the launch of 5G connectivity, they are actually becoming an integral part of our living life. Data is already, let's say, labeled to be the 21st century oil. And now with this pandemic that just accelerated the connectivity, and with Generation Z, the digital natives that are coming to age, for them is more important for them and more familiar they are with computing power instead of horsepower. So what that would mean, of course, that all cars, I think the one estimation that I saw was that all cars that are will be sold by 2025 will be connected 100%. They will generate a huge amount of data, geolocation, vehicle performance, driver behavior, biometrics, real-time traffic, road safety, you name it. So this data, again, if this is the new century oil, that means it's going to generate a lot of added value. However, this is easier said than done. How to monetize that? There are still, of course, a lot of concerns about privacy, data security, and such. So this is probably going to be the next hotter debate besides the electrification. And just to mention, like maybe a couple of years ago, all the rage was around autonomous driving. What I think we are seeing is that the pandemic is hurting autonomous driving, at least in the short term. Most companies are, because it's so expensive and so complicated to implement, and there are so much money available, the companies are simply choosing or prioritizing electric mobility instead of autonomous. And autonomous is probably going to take several more years until this will become mainstream, at least in passenger cars. Many companies are let's say, gearing towards having robo-taxis and other geofenced transportation means. And because of pandemic, probably these robo-taxis are going to move more goods than people, especially with surging demand in online shopping.
Yeah.
All in all, there are a lot to look forward to in automotive industry, and similar. I think the automotive industry is just the last major domain that is going to see such a major transformation, led by software. After PCs in the 90s, then it was the network and internet backbone in year 2000, and mobiles in the past decade. Now, cars are becoming the computer on wheels, so it's going to be interesting in the next decade.
Thank you, Cătălin. Thank you. I'm passing 1.5 minutes to Christian Cârstoiu from Ernst & Young. You learned a lot from your customers. Yes, Andreas, I'll give you the floor after.
Okay. I actually wanted to come back very quickly on the topic of electric mobility, right, and also bring a bit of focus on Romania, because in Romania we have a huge deficit of energy. Let's not forget that, right? And actually bringing a lot of the, let's say, electric cars in the grid right now, it's completely unfeasible. So we're facing the complex energetic Oltenia, which has to move on gas. We're facing the refurbishment of the Unit 1 of Cernavodă, going in 4 or 5 years down. So there's going to be a huge deficit anyway on the energy producing part, right? So while importing energy, that will have to have a massive debt again on the Romanian fiscal policies, which will have to be somehow dealt with. So investing in the infrastructure, investing in the e-mobility infrastructure will probably be slowed down. Just one comment also on the education, because I liked a lot the comment on the not just the university, but also on the pre-university, right, the Școala Profesională. It's clearly that the education, it has to be a huge focus. Education typically sees or reaps the reward in about 8 to 10 years, right? So you have to have an entire generation going through school or through some primary and secondary to actually reach the workforce and be able to have a positive impact. And that is never too soon, let me put it this way, to actually invest in education. You know, we're mentioning about the urban air mobility, Cătălin mentioned. There is a huge gap there, for example, on the legislation. I was fortunate enough to live some years in Dubai. There are quite a lot of, let's say, experiments on that perspective. But from a legislation perspective, it's clearly that globally we're facing a gap, and that has to be somehow both bridge the gap in Romania, not just from legislation, but also from the lawyers and from the entire ecosystem of services that will have to come with that. At least, you know, just to answer your question around what we've done during the pandemic in UI Romania, yeah, it's just frankly speaking, it was data analytics, investment data analytics, and IoT. That was our primary focus. We see these. I mean, I have a background in software development. I've done it in research in an R&D center for IBM for some time back. But that's the way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Andreas, 1 minute.
Yep. Yeah, COVID or not COVID, basically we have to have customer centricity always in mind. That's the purpose of all what we are doing. And the stronger you are, or our customers are, the stronger we will be, certainly. And basically that's about 3 topics: innovation, innovation, innovation. The world is changing quickly. And here in Romania, I believe we have more than to offer just producing some parts for other industries. We are here an innovation hub. We see here a lot of things to do, and the state can, of course, support with a certain roadmap. But also what I believe is we need a multi-stakeholder approach. We have to raise the urgency, act now, and have a certain roadmap. And I believe here, as we are together in such a group, we have a lot of innovation power and possibility to change. And it's now the time to speed up once again. And I'm quite optimistic for the future. And this is also something, of course, keep a good level of optimism, support, permanent communication and exchange with our employees and customers.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank you. I will now give the floor to Mihai Boldijar for his opinion and also for the final conclusions of this conference. Thank you, Mihai.
So thank you very much, Adrian. So it was a great event, and I really was very, very happy to be here tonight with all of you. And a few words maybe, or a few thoughts. I think it was the humanity's great reset, what was happening in the last months. The entire world actually stands still for a moment at the historical scale. And I think it was a time for all of us, for introspections. It was a time for self-reflection. It was a time for thinking to do things much better. It was a time for rethinking all our processes to be more agile, more flexible, much better prepared for the unexpected. I think it was a time for getting rid of all the waste, of all unnecessary things we have actually been done in the past. And agility means really to be very, very fit for the future, because the future will not be the same as it was actually the past, as we know the past before the pandemic. I think we are coming out much more wiser out of this experience. And I think we are much more aware how fragile is our environment. And we have talked a lot about CO2, about emissions, about everything which has to be done, about inventivity, creativity, and innovations, which has to drive us in the future. How to prepare the young generation to be also prepared for the challenging, for the future challenges. And I think we will overcome all this, but we have to stand together as one. And I fully agree. It's not only the industry which can move things towards, let's say, success, but it has to be a joint effort with authorities, and it was mentioned here. Yeah, and we have to shift gear in a fifth or maybe in an eighth, position, just to make sure and to put much more pressure on those, because I think the awareness, the awareness has to be much higher. Yeah. Really, I really appreciated this discussion, and I would like to thank you, Mirela and the Diplomat, for organizing this very, so it was about 2 hours or 2.5 hours, already 3 hours, and very, very intense, but I think it was all the topics, or at least the current topics has been covered very, very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mihai. Thank all the panelists for the presence and for the insights, for the inputs, for the debate. And now I give the floor to Mirela for the next part of the program.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you all the speakers. Stay with us because we'll have 2 very nice presentations by Bookster and by ING, and afterwards stay tuned for the awards gala. So now a few words from Bookster, the first public modern library in Romania. Ioana has some case studies to share with us, changes made in the last few months by companies in order to support their employees during these challenging times. Ioana?
Thank you, Mirela. I'm going to switch to Romanian. Ioana este numele meu și vă adresez câteva cuvinte de la Bookster, prima bibliotecă publică modernă din România. Sunt emoționată să vă vorbesc, deși v-am auzit în panelul de mai devreme povestind. Eu sunt cea care vă reține să mergeți în pauză. Vă povestesc astăzi, foarte pe scurt, promit, ce inițiative faine au făcut companiile din proiectul Bookster ca să susțină angajații în această perioadă. Subiectul este pe agenda tuturor, chit că echipele noastre lucrează de acasă sau merg în fabrică, cum este cazul angajaților din Automotive. Sper să vă inspire aceste exemple. Echipele noastre trec printr-o perioadă grea. Prioritățile angajaților au fost date peste cap și au fost nevoiți să muncească mai mult pentru rezultate mai puține. Și s-au deconectat de restul echipei. Acum, la Bookster, am vrut să înțelegem cum s-au adaptat în ultimele luni companiile pe care le servim sau, evident, cele pe care ne dorim să le aducem în proiectul Bookster. Așa că eu și colegii mei am organizat întâlniri virtuale, mese rotunde, cum ne-a plăcut nouă să le spunem, la care am invitat directori de resurse umane sau GM de companie. Un pic de context. Aceste mese rotunde aduc în general 4-5 invitați pe Microsoft Teams, timp de 1 oră și jumătate, și sunt închise, astfel încât invitații noștri să aibă ocazia să vorbească deschis despre provocările din business-urile lor. Până acum, cred că am organizat undeva la 10-15 astfel de mese rotunde, câteva dintre ele chiar din industria, având invitați din industria grea și din industria automotive. În toate aceste întâlniri, cel puțin unul dintre invitații noștri, în afara agendei, a ridicat următoarea întrebare. Cum îi sprijinim pe colegii noștri să treacă prin această perioadă dificilă? Voi ce faceți pe zona asta? După această serie de roundtable-uri, am ajuns la concluzia că aceste companii au făcut schimbări pe 2 planuri. Primul plan ține de zona de comunicare sau pe zona de beneficii, în politica de beneficii. Primul exemplu este pe zona de comunicare. Unul dintre invitații noștri ne povestea acum câteva săptămâni că el și echipa de leadership și-a dorit să înțeleagă care sunt nevoile printre cei 1000 de colegi și de ce au ei nevoie ca să lucreze la fel de bine și în biroul de acasă. Așa că i-au întrebat pe toți, fără excepție, de ce aveți nevoie. Și i-au promis că vor livra acel ceva, desigur, cu condiția ca pretențiile să fie rezonabile. Mie personal mi-a plăcut foarte mult acest exemplu. Vă spun și de ce și fac o mică paranteză. Reflectă ideea aceasta de înțelegere a nevoilor reale. Acum câțiva ani de zile, pe la începuturile Bookster, am citit o carte cu toții și fac o paranteză aici, și noi colegi o citesc, scrisă de Eric Ries, de Lean Startup. Un concept de altfel familiar și pentru Automotive. Citind această carte, am învățat să construim doar funcționalități de care abonații și companiile au nevoie. La fel cum spunea Ian mai devreme. Compania de care vă povestesc nu a presupus că cei 1000 de angajați vor ceva anume și nici nu le-au dat ocazia să aleagă dintr-o listă cu câteva opțiuni predefinite. Au pus în schimb o întrebare foarte curajoasă, deschisă. Și aici eu mai văd un plus în această abordare. Foarte probabil angajații companiei respective au înțeles că sunt maturi și sunt investiți cu încredere. Cel puțin asta este percepția mea. Acum, această idee de înțelegere a nevoilor în echipe am regăsit-o și în alte inițiative, în general în inițiativele acestea de verificare a pulsului. De regulă, e-mail-uri trimise de către GM-ul companiei sau de către echipa de leadership în echipe și în care angajații sunt consultați pe diverse teme. Mi-aduc aminte că și noi am aplicat la Bookster această teorie și la începutul perioadei de stării de urgență, Iulia și Alexandra, co-CEOs la Bookster, au început să sune în fiecare zi câte un coleg, doar ca să întrebe cum te simți, ce te îngrijorează în această perioadă. Vă spuneam că am văzut inițiative faine, inclusiv în politica de beneficii, diferite față de trecut. Companiile, și aici doar trec în revistă câteva, companiile au apelat la servicii de terapie, au făcut sport pe Zoom, au accesat poate abonamente medicale îmbunătățite, poate chiar și-au surprins colegii cu câte o cafea faină trimisă acasă. Și Bookster este unul dintre serviciile care a ajuns în casele angajaților în aceste luni și începând din martie, trimitem cărțile împrumutate acasă, iar reacțiile sunt peste așteptările noastre. Ba mai mult, avem exemple de companii care au grăbit decizia de a aduce Bookster tocmai pentru că își doreau să ofere un cadou fain de Crăciun colegilor lor. Mă opresc aici pe exemplul unei companii din Automotive. Întâmplarea face că este vorba chiar de o companie din grupul Continental și care are o soluție inclusiv pentru angajații cu copii foarte mici. O creșă la sediul companiei, în companie. Acum, evident, ideea a fost implementată acum câțiva ani, deci fără legătură cu scenariul în care ne găsim astăzi, însă astăzi este mai utilă și mai apreciată ca oricând, pentru că angajații au ocazia să-și ducă copilul aproape de muncă, într-o creșă mai puțin aglomerată. Trecem printr-o perioadă dificilă pentru companii și plină de anxietăți pentru angajați. Această perioadă, cum bine ați spus și voi mai devreme, poate să fie și o oportunitate. O oportunitate să înțelegem mai bine nevoile reale printre colegii noștri și eventual să testăm inițiative noi pe care nu le-am fi testat acum un an de zile. Desigur, dacă vreți mai multe detalii despre ce se discută în aceste roundtable-uri sau vă doriți să veniți la un astfel de eveniment, vă răspund cu drag pe LinkedIn. Keep safe! Mulțumesc!
Ioana, what do Automotive employees read during this period? Just short.
Sure. Like you, I was curious. I'm going to switch to English. Like you, I was curious the other day while preparing my speech to understand what sort of books are borrowed by employees working for Bosch or for Ford, which happen to be our first clients from the automotive industry. I can tell you that we've noticed an interest in readings on health, in particular books regarding psychological health, books for children, parenting books, and I'm sure it won't come as a surprise when I tell you that our readers also prefer reading about coronavirus, work from home transition, and of course, managing anxiety.
Okay, thank you very much. And now I'll invite Mr. Adrian Puma, Sector Head Automotive, Transportation and Logistics, ING Bank Romania, for his presentation, supporting sustainability ambitions through green loans and global developments in the automotive sector. So, Adrian, if you can share the screen and to start the presentation.
Mulțumesc, Mirela. Bună seara tuturor. Good evening, everyone. I believe that you are looking forward to find the winners for tonight Gala, so I'll try to be as concise as possible. Tonight, I would like to speak a little bit about the latest developments in the global automotive industry and the impact of some significant factors like COVID, like some disruption in the supply chain, a little bit on the Brexit, and in the end, a little bit of sustainability and sustainable financing. About the developments and the COVID impact, it is true that the pandemic came in a moment where the industry was facing already some difficulties. We remember the scandal of the emission test, the trade war between US and China. On top of this challenges, we believe that some more will add in the coming period. For instance, disruptions in the supply chains and possible softer demand. And altogether with the historically low contraction historically high contraction in sales this year, some might think that another crisis similar to 2008-2009 will come. Well, we believe it is not the case yet. We've seen already some recovery signs in the industry across the globe. Very good September months and also above expectation performance. Now, to joke a little bit, for instance, in Europe, a 7% decrease was considered by the analyst, quarter on quarter, was considered by the analyst rather like a relief and not like an alarming sign. Imagine 1 or 2 years ago how a 7% decrease would have been looked. Comparing to that period, the financial standing of the company is much better right now, and the access to liquidity is improved. So, as mentioned, we believe it is not 2008-2009. Now, it is true that the hit was big. Estimations of around 18% until year-end, the decrease in global sales units. And these are improved figures because 2 months ago we sent a presentation to clients with 22%, but as mentioned, September month was very good, and Asia performed excellent. So We believe that it will take a little bit for the recovery, and how long, well, it depends on different factors. There have been some scenarios, some recovery scenarios. So, unfortunately, the V shape, it's already history that is clear. Fortunately, also the L shape, it's history. And the most probably, due to the second wave, will assist W-shape recovery. And this would trigger, in our opinion, a return to pre-crisis sales levels somewhere around 2023. So there is hope, but we have to wait a little bit. Also, amid all these things, a question was put by many if the transition to electricity will continue, because oil prices have dropped, and also government stimulus have concentrated on all kinds of vehicle productions. We believe this will continue because petrol prices were not following the curve of oil prices, and because the range of EVs now it's a little bit improved, pricing are a little bit affordable, and most important, the regulatory pressure was not relieved. So we think that this will go on. And this has been shown also by the production structure globally. We've seen this year crossing of the 10% barrier for the EV vehicles globally. We see 12% in H1 2020. By EV, I mean both hybrid and battery operated. So this, in short, about the global evolutions. Now about supply chain, I said I will say a few words. We've seen some disruption in the supply chain, and this because the geographical spread is huge, and it was mentioned also by the esteemed invitees this evening that yes, integration is very good, and putting all bringing more suppliers locally, it's also very good. EU is the most prepared in this respect, with almost 80% integration of the production. But even for them, we don't think that 100% integration will be possible, because some raw materials you just don't have in the European Union, so you must import them from America or from Africa or Asia. So and the other regions like North America and Asia are not so well integrated. And thus we believe that this will be a concern, a stress factor in the coming year. On top of this, there will be also some financial pressure, and we've seen globally that the OEMs have been suffering some cash flow pressures this year. They tried to push it down towards the Tier 1 suppliers, which further pushed it to Tier 2 and Tier 3. And these guys, believe us, usually don't have enough strength to withstand such pressures. So we would believe that taking care of the suppliers is essential for having a smooth supply in the coming period. Now, talking about taking care. In our opinion, one way would be to enroll them in programs which offers access to liquidity, like supply chain finance programs. In such programs, a financial institution, a bank, can buy the receivables from the suppliers, offer them access to immediate liquidity, and at the same time they can offer some relief on the cash flow of the buyer as well by delaying some payments. Kind of win-win situation integration. We are strongly encouraging the companies to look at such type of facilities during these times. Very brief on the Brexit. This is a subject which might influence the industry in the next period. Basically, we see here three main scenarios. One would be to have FTA signed by the year end. A middle one would be to postpone the signing somewhere in 2021, but this only if an agreement will be reached, and only for administrative reason to have the signing delayed. And the worst case scenario would be to have no deal at all. Now, this might be an opportunity for some geographies like Romanian, for instance, or other European countries. However, we believe that for the EU as a whole, this would be another stress cause. And last but not least, on sustainability, we believe that this is more and more important for every one of us. At ING, we committed some time ago to this path, and this has been recognized recently by many organizations, independent organizations. We also committed to align our loans portfolio to climate change treaties, agreements. And we are going to focus on improvement, improving our portfolio in this respect. Now, of course, everything is nice. We commit to a lot of things, but someone could say, put your money in houses. And we created some products in this respect to support our clients which are looking to achieve their sustainability ambitions. And we have green loans, we have green bonds, we have sustainability improvement loans. What are these? The green loans are just simple loans which are offered to companies which are pursuing sustainable projects or just have a sustainable activity. But those are not so many. And then comes the sustainability improvement loans. And here a company can try to commit to certain sustainability KPIs. For instance, a lower carbon emission, or changing an older technology with more green one. In this case, we are following the fulfillment of these KPIs, and if this is happening, then a premium is paid to the company. For instance, a reduction in the loan cost, in the interest. Reversely, if this is not achieved, the company is paying something back to the bank. So you can see below that we put some balance sheet this year on this kind of loans, and we also made some landmark transactions worldwide, with voestalpine around 1 billion, also with Porsche around 1 billion for the E-Taycan project. We also supported Volkswagen for their real estate division. It was been said this evening that not only EVs means sustainability, but also buildings should be also friendly with the environment. We also helped with issuing a Volvo finance in where products of Renault, Ford, and Volvo have been selling of these products have been financed to the loan. These are examples of large deal made at the head office levels. We've made a few deals also locally, a little bit smaller indeed, not at such a scale, but we believe that there is room for growth. And we are encouraging everyone to look at this kind of solutions, because I believe many companies have own internal sustainability targets, and then why not put them to work also on other directions, for instance, when they need some finance. That would be all. I try to be as concise as possible. Thank you, and looking forward to see the winner for tonight gala.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you everyone for your input and for staying with us for the CEO debate and presentation. And now I'm very happy to announce the debut of the Online Automotive Awards for Excellence Gala. I would like to thank also all to our jury members, the companies who put a lot of effort in submitting their nomination for 10 categories. I wish everyone the best of luck and congratulations to everyone for their performance proved in the automotive sector in Romania. So now let me start the gala. Nu știu. So I think I didn't have sound, so this is the problem with with digital things. So let me introduce Colin to start the gala. Colin, you are with us?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Well, hopefully you can see me as well. I thought you might have started singing then, Mirella, when there was a little bit of quietness.
Yeah. Do you want to see it again, to try it again, please?
It's
Just
okay.
takes 1 minute.
You can do, but I may be tempted to sing, so it's up to you. It's up to you. So
okay, sorry.
So thank you very much, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this year's edition, unusual edition of the Automotive Awards for Excellence Gala, organised and powered by our friends, The Diplomat. And Automotive Today, the dedicated voice of the automotive industry, of course, here in Romania. My name is Colin Lovering, in case you don't know, and I'm both honoured and delighted to be again your host for the next hour. I put my best jacket on for you as well. So, you can't see, there's a big glass of wine down by the side of me, but I'll wait till the end until I drink that. A big thank you to the panelists in the Automotive 2020 forum this afternoon. I was listening with great interest and really that sort of positive spirit that came through, I think was very refreshing for everybody within the industry and attached to the industry, of course. And I'd also like to thank our awards jury for their dedication and expert deliberation in quite a complex judging process in the last month as we look at to recognise the industry champions for 2020. And I think it's probably fitting at this point just to sincerely congratulate every single organisation attached within the industry, big and small, who have literally kept the wheels turning. And these somewhat unsung heroes, I guess, are duly recognised and indeed thanked by us all. So congratulations to everybody. I was very interested to hear some of the speeches, and it was interesting how the human touch is really becoming part of our daily lives. And I heard Christoph talking about flexibility and adaptability being the key words, and Ian really focusing on, like everybody did, the people, moving from adversity to prosperity, I think Ian's words were. And then we came to Christian, who really focused on the community and about collaboration. Mihai was about communication again, but doing it differently and really installing trust and leadership. And some of you may know, I teach a program called Legacy Leadership, and it's quite interesting. One of the principles of that is how will you be remembered? How do you want to be remembered? And I think all of the speakers today can really hold their head up proud to say they've really done the right things through this. People will always remember us through the bad times, not the good times. And I think everybody's done an exceptional job in that and keeping this industry, I think in Ian's word, not just moving, but growing. So that's been a fantastic thing for that. So congratulations. My final thank you to Mirella, Magda, Christina and the team for putting on today's forum and this evening's awards ceremony. It's a lot harder doing these bloody things online, I can tell you. So well done to the team for that. In the next, less than an hour, we will be recognizing the performance and great examples of inspirational leadership, creative projects and innovative companies in the automotive industry in Romania. In this fairly unique, hope it's the last one we have to do, a virtual gala split into 10 key categories. And those categories are Innovation Award. We're going to have an E-Mobility Award, Technology Provider of the Year, Collaborative Initiative of the Year, Education Commitment Award, Sustainability Award, a CSR Award, Supplier Excellence, CEO of the Year, and then finally, Company of the Year. Shall I get on with it, Mirella? Okay, let's move on to our first award this evening. It's for innovation. And the nominees for this are Continental, Schaeffler, Prey, I think it's Prey, excuse my pronunciation, Marquardt, Sibiu, NTT Data actually have 3 projects in the nomination process, Modex Blockchain, NXP Semiconductors, and finally Group Renault. And I'm going to ask Ciprian Gavriliou, the tax partner for Deloitte, to announce the winner. Ciprian, the floor is yours, my friend.
Hi, Colin. Hi. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. This is a tremendous honor for me to be here. I want to give also my special thanks to the Diplomat and also to Mirella to invite me to be part of this interesting initiative. Also, I want to thank to all the nominees for all their efforts in developing research and development area in Romania. And I think that Romania still has to catch up a lot in this area and to invest more in order to influence the future and not to be influenced by it. So my special thanks to Continental Romania, Schaeffler, Prech, Marquardt, NTT Data Romania, NXP Semiconductors, and Renault, of course, as you already mentioned. But let's not keep the suspense. And the winner is NTT Data Romania for all 3 innovative solutions like Babele, like human driving understanding solution, and in-vehicle virtual assistant. And I will give the floor now to Ms. Maria Metz, who is the CEO of NTT Data Romania. Maria?
Good evening, everybody. I'm a little bit emotional now. I'm really honored and proud to be here today. I'm honored because I see clients and partners in the audience, and this gives me a great feeling of belonging. And I'm very proud to be here as a representative of such a great team as the NTT Data Romania team, who actually gave us this. As you might already know, the automotive industry has been in our strong focus for more than 15 years already. And now it represents our flag industry. We've begun from scratch, and we've kept on building industry-specific competencies and know-how. And I'm very proud that in the meantime, we've got so far that today we discussed in terms of innovation in automotive. And this prize is the proof. For those who do not know yet, the Innovation Prize goes for 3 of our latest projects: human driving perception understanding, privacy-friendly authentication, and in-vehicle virtual assistance. Understanding human emotional response in case of unexpected situations and driving context change, secure GDPR compliant authentication, and human virtual assistance. All of these were kind of, how can I say it, Star Trek for most of us, maybe a couple of years ago. Today, these projects initiated by our R&D team, all 3 of them are actually very important developments that come in the context of autonomous driving. We will be very glad to present them in details for everyone who wants to take a closer look at them. We'll proudly do that. Until then, thank you again, and have a great evening. We have it already.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry to step in, just 1 second. This is more like an award and not a prize, because usually when you're talking about a prize, there is money involved. So this is just a small joke.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Good words there. And I think just the look on Maria's face, the pride that's oozing from you makes us all smile. And congratulations to you and the team. We'll talk about COVID slowing us down. I think when I hear people like you talking, I think it's inspired us to do more. So congratulations to all the team at NTT Data, and thank you, Ciprian. Okay, moving on to our next award, which is something that's been discussed very much in the forum, is the e-mobility award. And the nominees for this are Ford Romania, Neobility, Eon and MOL Romania, Next-E, I think that's correct, Porsche Romania, Spark, MOL Romania, and Renovatio, the e-charge project. And again, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing any of these. I'm going to go to another old friend of mine, Andrei Mihai Krachin, the one who has got the longest business card. We always make this joke. Head of Digital Transformation for West University of Timișoara. Andrei, my friend, you there?
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here again, and hopefully, as Colin said, for the last time in this format, because I was telling Mirela today that I was really quite, I don't know, affording to see you all, but we'll see each other next year. So the future will not be the same. It will always be better as if we are wise enough to learn from every step, for the good, from the bad, or from the challenging. The future is always about connectivity, data exchange, I don't know, over-the-air updates, all sorts of amazing technologies that will do and will make our life better and safer. As already agreed, a big part of the future will be electric in a full or hybrid manner, at least for some years for now. The e-mobility award goes to Ford for launching the first car hybrid vehicle built in Romania, and I give the floor to Ian.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, jurors, very much for this extremely important award. I was going to say that e-mobility represents the future of the automotive industry, but it is more than this, as we talked in the in the debate that we just have. E-mobility represents the future of moving people and goods from A to B using any mode of transport. We are very proud that with the Ford Puma, we at Ford Romania, we're the first car manufacturer to produce a mild hybrid vehicle in Romania. Today, almost 80% of all the Pumas that we sell are mild hybrids. And that demonstrates that people both love the vehicle, but they are also looking for a vehicle with better fuel consumption and probably more importantly, a lower CO2 footprint than traditional gasoline engines. For Romanian companies, as we just debated, e-mobility provides a unique once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to develop and grow their businesses. Not just through e-vehicles, but through e-components, through software, through infrastructure, and also e-mobility services. This opportunity to be maximized needs a joined up approach between business, government, investors, and educators if we are to maximize its potential. We have a great opportunity in Romania to be at the forefront of this, so let's seize it. Thank you once again for this award. It's very special for the whole of the Ford of Romania team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian, and congratulations. And you make a good point there, Ian. I think when we talk about the automotive industry, we can quantify that in terms of the players within that industry. But you make a point there. The amount of people that the auto industry affects in Romania is probably a lot more than that. And so it is very important of the Romanian economy and important that we continue to support it. So congratulations to that. You probably know I'm not going to let this moment go just to remind you that my football team is above yours in the Premiership right now, Ian. But I won't mention it again. I promise, my friend.
I don't think you'll need to mention it again, Colin. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you have.
Yeah, Mirella, you better put us in a private room afterwards, I think, to debate this one. Okay, thank you, Ian, and congratulations to you and the team. And
thank you very much,
Andre, for presenting the award. Okay, our next award, ladies and gentlemen, is for Technology Provider of the Year. And we have 4 nominees here. We have three, NXP Semiconductors, Prey. I need somebody to tell me the pronunciation. Is it P-R-E-H or Prey, or help me out, somebody. And Menikes. And I've got, Catalin Stratulat, you've been doing a lot of talking this afternoon, my friend, and you're going to do a little bit more talking now. Catalin, please, would you announce this award?
Yes, sure, Colin. That's a great pleasure, actually, to present this award. First, because of course, technology is at the forefront of all these changes that have been discussed this afternoon here, and the other 2 reasons I will only disclose after announcing the winner. So even though all 3 projects were great, it could, of course, be only one winner, and that is NXP Semiconductors. Congratulations. And it gives me great pleasure to announce this winner for 2 reasons. One, because those working on this project are some of my former colleagues and friends. So I know the heart and the mind that they've been putting there. And the other reason is that now I am using their platforms in several projects across the work we are doing for clients. So I can testify that indeed it's a great technology. And with that, Radu Pavel, congratulations for the award. So
thank you, Catalin. Thank you, Catalin. This is really a heartwarming award as it recognizes the achievements of a wonderful engineering team. And as you mentioned, we had the pleasure to work together in the past years, and we are working today also as supplier and provider. You heard a lot today about the transformation of the automotive industry. We are talking about connected, secure, autonomous mobility, and it's all driven by software. And when we talk about things like transitioning to domain and zonal architectures, we talk about secure gateways, infotainment, ADAS, autonomous solutions. All these are powered by NXP products in the majority of today's and tomorrow's autonomous cars. And the R&D team in Romania is the one architecting, designing, developing a very large portion of the global NXP automotive software. So it is safe to say that our software developed right here in Romania exists today in your current car, each of your cars joining this call today, and is also at the heart of your future car. We have created a common software platform with safe and secure runtime software components and development tools that allows scalable and future-proof solutions. So it is really a great award to receive. I'm really thankful for this, and it is my pleasure to accept it on behalf of our great engineering team. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Radu, and yeah, congratulations to you and your team. I guess you're thinking about how you're going to celebrate. I bet they're a humble lot, but find a way to celebrate with them. Congratulations from all of us, and thank you, Catalin. Okay, moving on to the next award for this evening is the Collaborative Initiative of the Year, and the nominees for this were the Nextd Project, E.ON and MOL Group, OMV Petrom and NLX, Continental Sibiu and Orange Romania, Bosch and Technical University of Cluj-Napoca, and NXP Semiconductors Romania and MathWorks. And Andre, put that glass of wine down. You're back on, my friend.
Well, if there's something I miss is you hating us from the stage while we are talking and listening from our tables, enjoying a glass of wine and a good talk while you are up there. So the force of any kind of projects, of better projects, is strongly connected with the force of strong partnerships and collaborations. And it is my pleasure to award the Collaborative Initiative of 2020 from a challenging list of initiatives that was rather talked and debated a lot, to OMV Petrol and NLX for installation of the fast charging for electric cars in Petrom filling station in Romania, covering a distance of 380 kilometers from the main roads, connecting cities from east, center, and west of the country. It is the proper initiative that it's building that pillar that I think it's missing nowadays for the adoption of the more clean and better cars for the future. And I will ask Alina Stoenescu on behalf of Petrom and Mihai from Mardare from NLX to take the word now.
Thank you, and hello to everybody. First of all, thank you for the award. We are pleased to see that our partnership is being recognized by the automotive industry, so thank you again. We do believe that the answer to the mobility needs of our customers lies in a mix of classic and alternative solutions. And for the development of the electromobility as alternative solution, one important driver is the recharging infrastructure. With this partnership between NLX and OMV Petrom, we do contribute to the development of the national recharging infrastructure in order to enable a safe transit for the electric vehicles throughout Romania, and thus to enable the further development of e-mobility. Mihai?
Yes, thank you. Good evening to all. As Alina said, first of all, we thank you for this award, quite surprising for us, to be honest. Basically, in this field of electromobility, we are still facing the chicken or the egg dilemma, in the sense that one of the reasons why people do not buy electric cars is the fact that there are not enough charging stations. And companies, on the other hand, do not invest in installing charging stations because obviously there are not enough electric cars. Through the partnership between OMV Petrom and NLX, we are trying to limit this problem, and we are glad to be able to offer to the electric vehicle users from Romania more flexibility for their mobility needs in the end, while also contributing to the development of the charging infrastructure around the country. We thank you again for the award, and we are waiting you to use the charging stations soon.
Thank you, Alina, and thank you for Mihai. Mihai, you're suitably illuminated, I think, for this award. So well done, and congratulations to Petrom and NLX as this sort of journey continues. I guess it's just removing all of the barriers, and we know where we're going to be in the end. And thank you, Andre, for presenting that award. The next award is for education commitment, and the nominees are Dacia, Continental Sibiu, Group Robert Bosch Romania, Draxelmeier Hunedoara, Schaeffler Romania, Michelin Romania, Honeywell, Smart City Academy and the Mayor's Academy, NXP Romania University Program. And I'm going to ask another good old friend of ours, Adriana Record, Executive Director with the French Chamber of Commerce. Adriana, are you there?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. First of all, congratulations for these awards online. I think we are all pushed to this new challenge of the online meetings and facing you from afar. Congratulations for all the nominees in all the categories. Bravo for taking the challenge. For tonight in this Education Commitment Award, I would like to give the award to Group Robert Bosch Romania. And I'm very happy to do that for their long-time educational programs and their initiative in developing a good relationship, a strong relationship between education and the business environment in Romania, either by supporting schools and educational programs in schools, either by supporting students and young executives through their internal programs. So congratulations to Bosch and welcome in this series of awardees.
Okay, Mihai, are you there? Mihai Boldejar from Bosch.
Thank you very much, Adriana. Thank you very much, Colin. I'm really honored. I'm honored because I've heard great names in this series of nominees. And to gain such an acknowledgement is really an honor. But it's also a big responsibility. And we will continue to do so. It was our belief that only investing in training, education, we can lift the level of knowledge, of understanding, of being much better prepared for the future and to face all the challenges we will have. So we will invest much more in training, much more in education. And I do hope that all other colleagues here will do the same and in the same way, because the future of our nation lies in how much are we going to invest in education. Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Mirela and the Diplomat team for a great evening today. And I will digitally grab the award. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mihai, and I love the way these awards are being in a very humble way being accepted. And I think, Mihai, it wasn't that long ago when, as leaders, there was a lot of emphasis on motivating people to be in the workplace to do all these different things. But it's kind of changed, Mihai, to inspiring. We're now, as leaders, inspiring people, and you gave a great example of that. So congratulations, my friend, and thank you, Adriana, for presenting that award. The next award is for sustainability, and the nominees are the Schurter Group, Romania, Vitesco Technologies, Robert Bosch, Romania, so stay there, Mihai, you never know, Continental, Romania, and the Schlemmer Group. And to present this award is me. So I'm delighted as part of the jury, and thank you to my fellow jury members, saying it's a tough decision to make. Our automatic choices give everybody the prize, which I'm sure happens in many award ceremonies. But really, this is about probably a corporate survival show where people are actually looking at how they can survive the jungle, but people looking forward to thinking of how they can be self-supporting, self-sustainable. And therefore, the award goes to Continental for their power generation system created in Timișoara. So I hope Christian is still on the line. Christian, are you there?
So I'm still there, of course I'm there.
Congratulations,
and,
my friend, congratulations.
Thanks very much, Colin. Yeah, I think with this we had to address exactly two topics which we had also before in our talk. So the one topic is maybe the poor electric system in Romania, which we often have, but on the other hand also the topic of just reducing CO2 in the overall chain of just producing and using a car. So finally, what we are doing with this, we just have launched our own power generation system in Timișoara factory and Timișoara location. So this is a trico-generation system. By burning of gas, we just also in parallel not produce only electricity, which normally is in every power plant something you do with about 40%, 40-something% of efficiency, but we produce also hot water, which in the wintertime, of course, we use for heating, but also in summertime, we just use the system also for cooling. And with this, we just can double the efficiency of the system in the direction of more than 90% of the energy which we generate. And the total investment was there 2.5 million. And of course, this double efficiency is just helping to reduce a lot of the CO2 production of our factory. And on the other hand, also, we had up to now power shutdowns by the electric systems. And with this, we just reduce scrap because now we can just ensure here that the system is still running, that the factory is running, and unanticipated power outage. In overall, this just goes also into our overall worldwide strategy to just get to CO2 neutral factories for overall continental worldwide until 2040. And I'm really proud and happy that you just saw our activities here in such a good way that we just get the award. Thank you for this. And yeah, thanks, Colin. I would just take afterwards also a glass of wine. This is, of course, what I'm mostly missing, that we can celebrate all together here today's evening.
We'll get some time soon, I'm sure. Thank you for that, Christian, and thank you to everybody who's involved in sustainability. And as Christian, I think you're highlighting there, is not doing it just for the sake of it, doing it for a real fundamental reason. And Ian touched on, reducing the wastage within the industry, and I guess supply chain is another area that you guys are
absolutely,
which has an impact on productivity, efficiency, waving the Romania flag, and keeping the earth safe as well. So congratulations to everybody. Thank you for that.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, our next award, ladies and gentlemen, is for CSR. And the nominees for this are Ford Romania for the Ford Fund, Continental Romania, Draxelmaier, MOL Romania, and NXP Semiconductors Romania. And I'd like to ask Carmen Adamescu, the partner advisor with EY. Carmen, are you there with us?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Let me start by saying that it's a pleasure to see everybody again here in this very nice environment. And thank you very much, Diplomat, for getting us together again. And I can see some faces that we keep on seeing for several years. So congratulations to all the winners. Now it's my pleasure to announce that the CSR award goes to Ford Romania, that announced the finalization of the $100,000 investment at Craiova County Emergency Hospital, supported by Ford Motor Company Fund, the philanthropic arm of the company. The investment was made working with their international grant marking partner, Global Giving, and the non-profit association Rotary Craiova Providas. So having said that, congratulations again, and I kindly invite Deborah Channels from Ford to say a few words about it.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me. It's wonderful to be part of this event. Congratulations to all the nominees and winners so far this evening. We are absolutely delighted with this award. It's fantastic to be recognised for our continued support of Craiova County Hospital. My name's Debbie Channels, and I do work for the Ford Motor Company Fund, which, as you said, was the philanthropic arm of Ford. And with our employees and our dealers and our charity partners, our mission is really to strengthen communities and help make people's lives better. Our work is rooted in Ford's long-standing commitment to basically make a positive impact in society and build on Henry Ford's legacy to really create strong communities wherever Ford does business. We're proud to support the hospital. Healthcare is extremely important. And with our charity partner, Rotary, and our medical team at Ford Romania, we've been able to also complete blood donation drives, free cardiovascular disease screening checks, and also recently during the pandemic, help facilitate the purchase of much needed testing equipment. So this award really does mean a lot to us. Thank you so, so much on behalf of Ford Romania and the Ford Motor Company Fund.
Thank you, Deborah. Again, it's always nice to hear that sort of pride in people's voices when they're talking about these things. And I'm sure everybody involved at the hospital in Craiova is very grateful for this much needed donation. I'm sure there's a Ford Puma brochure by every bed, but yeah, that's fine. So,
and next time I'll obviously love to be there to have a glass of wine with you, but up till now I've just got water. So cheers, everybody.
cheers, Deborah. Thank you very much. And thank you, Carmen, for presenting the award. Some nice stories this evening, gentlemen. Okay, let's move on to our next category, which is for supplier excellence. And the nominees are Schaeffler Romania, Leoni, Autoliv, Rombat Romania, Condu, Emerson, Menekes, Meter. I do hope I'm pronouncing these correct. Continental, I know that one. For Romania, Faurecia Romania. I'm not sure if I've got that, how that sort of fits in there, but somebody's going to explain that. Maybe Ciprian to present the award can tell me where I went wrong there. Ciprian.
No,
help me out, my friend. Help me out.
You didn't went wrong. It's okay. So
okay.
Thank you to all the participants to this category. I think everyone deserve to receive the award due to their, let's say, day-to-day pursuit in their operational activities in order to, let's say, pursue excellence. However, we need to have a winner, and the winner of this category was decided by the jury to be Rombat. Meter and Rombat, basically, they're the same competitor for the investment that they did in a new factory. It's like 12 million euros invested in a new factory for batteries, lithium batteries. And congratulations to the winner. And I will give the floor to Mr. Ioan Repede, who is the CEO of Rombat. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Gavra. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Ciprian Gavriliu. Thank you very much for this award. I dedicate it to the entire Rombat team for all the efforts done over the years. In Rombat, we have special respect for both our customers and suppliers, and we do our best to be compliant with the committed terms on the supply chain. If we look at our Romanian OEM customers, we have been the exclusive supplier for Dacia Renault since 1997 and supplier for Ford Romania since 2019. Our service rate for these customers is 100%, and we are focused to maintain the level of this in the future too. Thank you very much once again for this award. It honors us and motivates us for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ioan. A very, very nice speech, and congratulations for being an integral part of this electric car journey that we're obviously on now. And I guess, like everything, you go in, people like yourself take us beyond the point of return. So it's something that's going to be continuing. So congratulations to you and the team for your vital contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Okay, our penultimate award this evening is for CEO of the Year. And our nominees for this are Christian van Olbertveld, CEO of Continental Automotive Romania, Christoph Doridi, the GM Automobile Dacia and Group Renault Romania, Ian Pearson, President of Ford Romania, Sodin Potorash, the CEO of Schaeffler Romania, and finally Mihai Boldijar, the General Manager for Robert Bosch. And I'm going to ask Adrian Dobre, General Manager of Clawin, to make this important announcement. Adrian, are you there?
Thank you very much, Colin, and it's a really special honor and pleasure to be the one addressing this award. In my opinion, it's deserved by all the nominees, but nevertheless, we have a winner, and I would like to congratulate Jan Pearson for the role of on the award of CEO of the Year. Congratulations, Jan, for all what you did in Craiova, all what means for Craiova today. Congrats.
He's fallen off his chair, I think. Ian, are you there?
Yeah.
I was so excited I couldn't unmute myself.
Well done.
But most people are happy when I don't talk, but in this case, it's necessary to talk. So thank you, Adrian. Thank you, everyone, for this award. You know, especially those of you who considered that I am worthy of it. I'm very humbled and honored to win such an award, especially when you consider the other nominees who were selected. I have great respect for my fellow Romanian CEOs, whether their businesses are small, medium, or large. The challenges faced, especially in this year, have been extraordinary. And yet, not only have the Romanian businesses still open for business, but many have strengthened and grown and developed. And that is because leaders, like the Romanian leaders on this call, are passionate about what they do, including seeing and seizing the opportunities that this great country and the great people of this country have to offer. I understand that the title of CEO is important, but I don't see myself as a chief, an executive, or an officer. I see myself as someone who's been given a unique responsibility to maintain and grow this exciting business, but mostly to serve the people who I am honored to leave, to encourage them, to challenge them, to teach them, to support them when they fail, to remove barriers, and just as important, to learn from them. Every day in this role, I learn something new. Hopefully you can tell I love what I do. I love working with the Ford Romania team. I love the challenges and the opportunities that the role brings. So once again, thank you very much for honoring me with this award. It's very special.
Thank you, Ian, and very.
Thank you.
Very. Oh, where's my Tottenham mug? It's gone. So congratulations, well deserved, and congratulations, as you already mentioned, Ian, to all of the nominees. And I think you know, leadership now, and it's been proven listening to the forum. You know, a great leader is somebody who just surrounds himself or herself with very, very talented people. And I think all of the nominees have done exactly that. And I think, you know, it's quite unique the way that you guys have become friends, although you know, there's a strong competitive element in certain areas, but you've realized that the automotive industry in Romania will only succeed if you all get together, but your proverbial arms around each other and really drive this big vehicle forward, which you've done. So I think congratulations to Ian and congratulations to everybody, including those who are not nominated. You know, you're all part of this fantastic journey and should all be proud. So well done, Ian. Well done. Okay, well that brings us to the final award for this evening, which is for Company of the Year. And the nominees for this are Ford Romania, Automobile Dacia, Continental Romania, Schaeffler Romania, and finally NXP Semiconductors Romania. I'm delighted to invite Paula Purvanescu, the former State Secretary, Ministry for Business, Trade and Entrepreneurship. Paula, how are you?
Hi, Colin. I put my one of the
Your hair's all curly. Your hair's all curly.
Yes, thank you. It's a trend for 2020. So I'm very happy to see you all, and you are all wonderful, and I wish you all the best. In this evening, please allow me to congratulate our Mirela for all the efforts she puts for everything she's done, and to congratulate all the companies in Romania for all the work and for all the results. So in our category, we have this award is for business that can demonstrate success based upon general business performance, the launch of the new product or development of the new process. And we have also some criteria: turnover, number of employees, investment, R&D projects, overall excellence in supply, performance, customer service and environmental awareness, drive, vision, ability to overcome challenges, commitment to the automotive industry. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Group Renault sold up to 1 million vehicles in the first half, thus sitting itself at a strong contender for the number of the brand in Europe in June. On the electric market, Joey is the best-selling car in Europe, with growth of nearly up to 50% unit in the first half, and record the level of orders at 11,000 units in June. So our winner is Renault Romania, company of the year. So I have prepared my glass of wine.
Okay, wonderful. And we're going to ask Cecilia Tudor, the communications director and CSO for Group Renault, to.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Colin. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much. It's really an honor for us to receive this award for excellence. And I would say that in the last 21 years, Dacia has radically transformed into a brand with international vocation. And with more than 7 million cars sold in more than 40 countries, Dacia is a young brand that conquered clients for different cultures. And I would say that Dacia is also one of the great ambassadors for our country, and also a source of inspiration for our students who finally chose Dacia as a study case in their works. Even the last year was a very complicated one. The end of the year brought us an extraordinary achievement. And you will see by the end of the year on the European roads, and not only, the new Dacia family, the new models Dacia, Dacia Logan, Dacia Sandero, and Dacia Sandero Stepway. Thank you once again for this award. I would say that it's a recognition of the great work of our more than 70,000 colleagues who made this great achievement possible. Thank you once again for this award.
Thank you, Cecilia. And I like the word you use, ambassador. And I think, we, like in sport, I guess, we always need role models. And every young girl in Romania wants to play tennis because of Simona Halep. I guess the young boys, going back a few years, wanted to be Hadji. And I think same in business. And, we heard about UiPath and these unicorn companies. And then Dacia came along with the Duster, which was a phenomenon, and really set a standard and put Romania proudly on the map. And really is, and I think all of the talks this afternoon on the forum and the awards this evening are really identifying those real pioneers in the industry, are really putting this country on the map and making us all. I'm an honorary Romanian. I've been here 12 years now, so I'm as proud as the next man and lady. So congratulations to you and the team. And I guess that brings us to the end of the award. I'm quite sad, really. I was just getting warmed up there. But thank you, everybody. Again, congratulations to all the award winners, and congratulations to the big wide world in the auto industry. I hope at Christmas time you can find some way of having a Zoom. Paula's already there with a glass of rosé, but I hope sometime we can all have maybe a get together and have a glass of wine together virtually or something else. But in the meantime, I'm going to pass over to Mirella for the final words. But for me, thank you very much. Again, it's a very much an honor to be here. Hope to see some of you soon. Take care, stay safe. My best wishes to your family, and particularly stay safe in December so everybody can have at least some sort of family Christmas together. And we hopefully see you in the new year. Mirella, the final word from you.
Thank you, Colin. And I want to congratulate all the winners and of course the finalists for this edition. I also want to thank you all our partners, and especially my team, Magda, Christina, and Petre. And let me just put the video because maybe now it's fine. Okay, can I have a second chance?
You can, go on.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Don't go away.
Congratulations for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mirella.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations to everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.